Sportsland Sugo, a racetrack with quite a reputation for fast action, great racing, overtaking, and indeed minivans. Yep, this is Let's Go Racing, and you are watching round 3 of the 2019 Super Formula season. My name's Sam Collins, and I'm joined here in the Let's Go Racing booth with Leigh Gorman. But before we get underway, we should be talking about this channel a little bit. This is a new YouTube channel set up to have all sorts of things about motor racing on it and motorsport and high-performance cars. And I hope you like and subscribe to the channel. Have a look around. There's plenty to see and do. And don't forget to join us to help support the channel. You can look in the race description on YouTube to see benefits of joining. But meanwhile, Leigh, Super Formula in the wind and no rain. Sunshine there on the starting grid as our good friend Chio makes his way around to chat to people.
It's actually been very, very changeable conditions this weekend, Sam. We practice through Friday. We saw quite a bit of damp conditions, not overly wet like we saw at Autopolis a few weeks ago, but still wet enough to make conditions very, very tricky. Then yesterday there was a dry session that was interrupted by some accidents and red flags. And today, as you said, very, very, very windy. The sun is out, but I don't think it's necessarily that warm as we see on screen as Chio talking to Kobayashi.
Kobayashi, the only Toyota car in the top 8 in his KCMG sponsored car. Doesn't look very tired, does he? But I think those sunglasses might be hiding some bags under the eyes. Kobayashi, one of 2 drivers on the grid to have been racing in the Le Mans 24 hours last week, and we were thinking about the logistics of that. Toyota drivers having won the race and second in the race to have a bit of a party afterwards, fly back to Japan, then get down to Sugo. I mean, they've not had much time to relax and get their head together, have they?
Probably not, and I think I wonder once this race is finished, they will probably do absolutely nothing for quite a while and just try and chill out, because it has been quite a hectic schedule for both Kobayashi and Nakajima. Nakajima, who we'll talk about shortly, because he's had quite a few rewards, shall we say, this week. But Kobayashi, he had decent qualifying session. I said the only Toyota driver in the Toyota powered driver in the top 8, and he is going to be getting away from 6th on the grid in his Team KCMG car.
Tell us about qualifying, Leigh, because it was a little bit unusual again.
Well, qualifying nature of this circuit at Sugo, Sportsland Sugo, means the Q1 is split into 2 groups. So we had several drivers knocked out in the first part of qualifying. Among them, Artem Markelov and Dan Tinktum, who will be starting from 19th and 20th on the grid. Then on 18th, qualifying 18th, Kenta Yamashita in the Kondo Racing Toyota. And then we got Kazuki Nakajima, the chap we were just speaking to a few moments ago. He's starting from 17th on the grid. In his team, Tom, in his Toyota powered car. Sho Suboi starting 16th. Not a position not too dissimilar to where he started in Suzuka at the beginning of the year. Then for 15th, race winner at Autopolis a few weeks ago, Yehisuke Sekaguchi. It's actually a similar position from where he started at Autopolis. I think he started 16th at Autopolis, so it's not beyond the realms of possibility he can still pull a very, very good result out of that in his Team Impul Toyota. 14th, and a little bit of surprise, second in the championship, Nick Cassidy in his Team Tom's Toyota. Cassidy hasn't actually had the best run in qualifying so far this year. He was 12th, started 11th, and then 14th at Sugo. But he's, as we saw at Suzuka, he went on to win. So there are possibilities there for the New Zealand Grand Prix winner, 3-time New Zealand Grand Prix winner. 13th, qualifying 13th to Yuji Kunimoto for Kondo Racing Toyota, the 2016 Super Formula champion. Then just ahead of him and into Q2, the last driver in Q2, Kazuya Oshima. He's starting 12th. A bit of a consistent qualifying run for Oshima. He started 13th, 12th, and again 12th for today so far this season. But 11th on the grid, Harrison Nui, the BMX Racing Motor Park Honda. He didn't actually set a time in warm-up earlier on. Neither he nor his teammate Lucas Sauer. We'll get to Lucas in a few moments' time. It's, of course, Nui's first time at Sugo, Sports and Sugo, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets on from the middle of the pack. Then we're into the top 10, and it's Hiroki Ashura, the Super Formula champion, twice Super Formula champion from 2015 2017. He's starting 10th in his Inging Toyota. And Ria Hirakawa, he's going from 9th place in his Team Impul Toyota. And then we get into the top 8 drivers, the drivers who ran into Q3, and the drivers who were starting 7th and 8th had a bit of an action-packed Q3. That is Tadasuke Makino, who's starting 7th, and in 8th is Alex Pelu, both of the TCS Nakajima Honda racing drivers. Both of them crashed in Q3.
It was synchronized crashing.
Synchronized crashing off at almost the exact same time, and exact same point, and apparently they were just pushing very, very, very hard. And the moment they really got their wheels onto the grass is still slightly damp. They were sailing into the barriers, and an interesting moment for Makino, who took out some of the actual tire barrier, and will continue to drive with the tire barrier sitting on top of him. But because they caused the red flag, their best times were deleted from Q3, and so they dropped down into 7th and 8th place, as we see the pole lap from Naoki Yamamoto. And the pole lap wasn't actually the fastest lap that we saw in qualifying yesterday. Yamamoto set the fastest circuit lap.
Well, I'm not sure if this is the pole lap is going to minivan corner, as we call it there, Naoki Yamamoto. Now, if you are listening to this at home, turn up the volume on this lap, because it is absolutely stunning in the final sector. Just have a listen to this as Yamamoto takes us around Sportsland Sugo. Absolutely sensational lap there through the 100R corner and the 110R corner. That is a new lap record, outright lap record for Sportsland Sugo. And there he is, the reigning champion of Super Formula. Well, put it on pole position. And that, as you say, wasn't his pole position lap.
That was actually the absolute fastest lap. That was a 1 minute 3.9 that he set in Q2. It's just astonishing. And you got to love that final corner. The long, bendy, parabolic, almost Peritada-esque kind of corner leading onto the start-finish straight. Let's quickly finish up the qualifying. 6th was Nirei Fukusumi in the Dandelion Racing Honda, the former GP3 and F2 driver. It's a good qualifying for him. He is currently 4th in the 8th in the championship, 4 points. Then we go, it's Kamui Kobayashi. And he actually, his best ever result here, he's only actually achieved the best result of 6th here in Sugo, so he'll be actually looking to improve on that. Then it's Kudai Sakakoshi. And he has qualified 4th in his real racing Honda, and he was the runner-up in this championship back in 2012. He has achieved a 2nd place here in that season. And then 3rd on the grid, Lucas Auer, the former DTM racer. His first visit here. He didn't set a lap in warm-up today. Then it's Tomoki Nohira. He is starting 2nd on the grid. He won here in 2014 and pole position, as we saw and as we mentioned a few moments ago, Naoki Yamamoto in the Dandelion Racing Honda, the reigning Super Formula champion, won here last year, and he'll be looking for a repeat of that. And you know, with that kind of lap we saw, utterly committed lap we saw during qualifying, I mean, that was actually quite spectacular.
It truly, truly was a spectacular lap. Well, the grid is just being cleared, and before we start talking about the track, the cars, and indeed the race, which you're all actually here to watch, we just want to say thank you to a few people who have joined us here on Let's Go Racing. Erwin, Paul Montecinos, Dave Dzwonczyk, Melbeanyo, Christian MILESI, Corey Jott, GPA 95, 3 things to start, the girl tells us. DyrmaXXX, Robbie G, Joe Quirk, Nolin, Dillane, Darien, Quinn, Jonathan Sheeran, AJ Rottini, MP Rallyvideos, Ddogphace Morcane, Tom Porter, username is in use. Gaunt Pisces 19, Bucktide, Dougal 14, I'm sure that is you, Leigh, Devin Mitchell, Thomas Loisu, Derek Lundy, Wales taste great, they don't really. And here's the national anthem of Japan. Well, great national anthem there. GG0454, Robbie Francevic, Issac Leigh, Walt Moehle, Melbeanyo again, apparently. Robbie Francevic, Walt Moehle, Klowde, and Steve Manguino. Well, thanks to you, thanks to people like you, we can bring you Super Formula and other championships here live on Let's Go Racing. So don't forget to hit like, don't forget to hit subscribe, and join us now live and uninterrupted on Let's Go Racing. That's round 3 of the 2019 Super Formula Championship, coming to you live from Sportsland Sugo, a 3.7 kilometre twisty, uppy, downy, old school racetrack with shades of Estoril. And Mr. Sato there, Sato-san, saying, "Let's go racing."
It is something we mentioned last night when we were doing our prep. It's very much, it has that feel of Estoril, it has that feel of Brands Hatch. It has a bit of old school Zandvoort about it as well. Really, really fabulous old school track. As get ready for the dummy lap to the grid. Must mention Yamamoto taking pole position. That is, of course, an additional point towards the Super Formula Championship, which now gives him a 6-point advantage over next up Nick Cassidy. So pole position with that additional point, it gives an extra little twist to qualifying.
And we'll see if we can get slightly louder track sounds once the cars gets going. We just need to hear the engine note once things are up and running. But here we go. We'll talk our way around the green flag lap a little bit, Leigh, as we get going. Well, the first corner here at Sportsland Sugo is wonderfully named First Corner. Second corner has a brilliant name, Second Corner. Third corner, but you can't guess what that's called.
Turn 4?
No, it's called the Third Corner.
Oh, wow.
Obviously.
Astonishing.
And, well, we see the grid go through. Decent-sized grid here in Super Formula. There isn't a grid limit. More cars could join the series. There are some rumours of some more international teams coming over. The only properly international team in the series, you've got KCMG, which is obviously Hong Kong-based, but you've also got the Motor Park Academy team, which are tied up with BMAX Engineering. 68 laps here of Sportsland Sugo, 251.8 kilometres, or 90 minutes maximum race. I don't think we'll go to that 90 minutes. Though, Sportsland Sugo, you can see with that basically complete lack of runoff, you do get quite a few safety cars here. Proper track, though. This is why it looks a little bit like Spa, off into the Ardennes Forest, but this isn't the Ardennes Forest, this is Japan.
The other aspect of, as you see, Rainbow Corner.
The Rainbow Corner, I was going to get to that.
The other aspect, as you said, not much runoff area. As we just saw the shot a few moments ago, some of the parts of the circuit have a bit of a drop away as well, so there's not a huge amount of room for tractors or whatever, or cranes, to actually get cars away. So in some corners, when you do go off, you absolutely have to have a safety car, because it the only way to get cars off the track at certain points may actually be to get marshals on circuit to pull it.
Well, there you can see what they call backstretch corner. It's just a little kink, really. Then down to it's officially called Umanos Corner here. It's nothing to do with Miss Furman. It's just a translation of horseback corner. Not a clue why. Then into SP in and SP out. Two little gentle left-handers, but a real action zone. 24 degrees centigrade here. Track temperature of 33 degrees centigrade. Now, this is a championship that has a tyre change battle. You have a soft and a medium compound tyre. Every driver must use both compounds during the race. Yamamoto starts the race on softs. Second on the grid, Najiri alongside him on the mediums. There you can see S and M on the list, denoting what they're really going for at the start and what sort of rubber they like.
And you can see from ninth backwards, majority of the drivers on medium tyres. A lot of this probably thinking that maybe they have to go long in the first stint, try and make as much time as possible, and then do a late change onto the soft tyres.
4-cylinder turbocharged engines. Four-cylinder turbocharged engines, inline fours from Honda or Toyota, depending if they're a Honda or Toyota driver. There's development allowed on the engines, 2 specifications per year. Fuel flow limits. The fuel flow restrictors used, unlike in Formula 1 where it's just limited. You've got an overtaking boost button. We'll talk about that with those flashy green and changing colour lights on the top of the car as the car's lined up on the starting grid. Keep an eye on those roll hoops. I don't think we'll see those devices deployed just at the start of this race. Refueling strategy comes into play here as well. This is a refueling race, which Formula 1, quite frankly, should be as well. But this is looking like it's going to be a very unpredictable race with cars in the wrong place, out of place on the grid because of that weird qualifying session. Who is going to be the first into first corner? We'll find out. You're watching Let's Go Racing. This is round 3 of the Super Formula Championship 2019. Not quite sure what those marshals are doing, but there you go. The green flag is waved enthusiastically, and then he runs away. The revs are going to start to rise. The red lights are coming on. We're ready to go racing here at Sportsland Sugo. And the lights are out, down to the first corner. Good start by, well, pretty much everybody. Naoki Yamamoto, they gets away, and they're getting away in race order pretty much round the outside there. Attempt by Lucas Auer for second position. That's not going to work. He's exposed himself for fourth position there.
Brilliant start by Yamamoto, really able to pull away from the grid as Najiri and Auer fought very much over second place. Some tyre smoke going into turn 2 there, but very, very good getaway. You can already see Yamamoto has a bit of second to a second, just over a second gap.
Oh, and really aggressive racing down there. That was one of the Dandelion racing cars. No, it wasn't. Well, there you go. Look, there are quite a few guys struggling for tyre temperature on this first lap. No tyre warmers in this championship, of course, just like Super GT. And somebody's getting ready for a pit stop on lap 1. That's KCMG. That's going to be for Kamui Kobayashi. Well. Has he got damage, or has he been on the radio to say he's got damage from that first lap? We saw that tyre smoke coming up, or is there an issue there? That's really surprising.
Interesting, very much. I'd be quite surprised. We do have pitters already.
Yeah,
Yamamoto
loads of them.
So is this the soft tyre drivers getting off the soft rubber immediately and going straight onto the mediums for the rest of the race?
I think that's exactly what we're seeing now. Let's see how long that fueler goes on for. That's the key thing. Now you can see the refueling going in.
Slow stop there.
Half the field going on as the mechanics jump over the front of the car.
Disastrous stop, Sam. The jack had not been fully activated. So Kobayashi sat there for ages. Well,
Yamamoto not out first. Yamamoto has lost the lead even on this pit stop group. He's gone down to second, so he clearly didn't get a good pit stop. We didn't see it on screen. Kobayashi's not the worst either. He was the first in the pits and the fourth out. Well.
Yeah, very, very sluggish pit stops there, actually, and that's quite a surprise.
Well, I think everybody was surprised to see this many cars stopping under green here at Sportsland Sugo, because this is a sort of track where you look for safety car pit stops. Well, we've now lost the lead of the pack. There is Kamui Kobayashi. Not quite sure why the camera's sticking to him so loyally.
Well, I'm assuming in Japan they're talking about his Le Mans exploits last week. But right now, that was a bit of a slow stop for Kamui Kobayashi. And it's I think when the rest of the field do make their stops, he would have probably lost several positions in that instance.
Cassidy stopped there as well. So they say so that's wrong. What's on screen? Yamamoto, I think pitted. So no, he didn't pit, did he? No. I think the people who pitted were Dan Tictum, Nojiri, Nirei Fukuzumi,
and
there is Dan Tictum.
That's Tictum in the pits now.
Nick Cassidy also pitted. Kamui Kobayashi, Kenta Yamashita, and Sho Suboi have all made early pit stop. Naoki Yamamoto leads this race by quite a margin at the moment. 2.7 seconds, but he is on the soft tyre. But now the second position is Lucas Auer, also on the soft. Makino on soft tyres as well. Are they trying to build up the gap, what you would do on these tyres before coming to the pit lane? That's what I'd expect. Very strange to see this tyre strategy playing out for all of these guys. But with that weird qualifying session, perhaps a lot of guys were on tyres they didn't expect to be. Field a bit strung out at the moment, but these two having a great scrap. Oh! Well, diving up, trying to get up the inside. That's Alex Palou.
That's Harrison Nui as well. He's attacking Harrison Nui there for position.
Yeah, very aggressive down the start-finish straight.
And that is for sixth and seventh positions. And Palou not the best of start. He's actually 4 positions behind Makino. Both of them started on the 4th row of the grid, as we see.
Also into the pits now. That is the number 4 car, Yuji Kunimoto.
Oh, he's driving over his. Oh no!
Oh, Kondo Racing, that has not gone well for them.
There
Also
are
coming up was one of the Tsurumo cars.
There's some absolutely haphazard pit stops going on in this race so far.
It's been a little while since the last race, and it just makes me think that maybe the crews are a little bit rusty.
And it seems that the line had not been cleared fully by the time Kunimoto was ready to go, and it's just driven over and got caught, really.
Well, what this flurry of pit stops has done is strung out the field a little bit. Well,
and
not these two.
And that's one of the Ingen cars.
That's Shosuboi. And on the back of them, that is Dan Tictum. So this is a freeway battle. Tictum at the back, Shosuboi in the multicoloured car. And well, 3 wide going into the backstretch corner, then into horseshoe corner, and well, I'm not sure this is going to stay the way it looks like. Into the left-hander, SP in. Shosuboi is going to have a look. Is he? No, he's not. He's got to be careful. Dan Tictum on the back now. They're going to have a run through this very long final corner, and they're going to draft each other down to turn 1. Now, let's see if they can keep it together and get into the toe up the hill over the start-finish line.
Kunimoto's probably getting his tyres up to temperature now, so he may have just rescued this position.
Yeah, he's got that. But look, you see the flashing light on the roll hoop. That denotes that the driver's given himself a little bit of an extra boost. So each of these cars has 30 seconds of additional power they can use. And when you see the roll hoop lights flashing really, really quickly, that's because they've deployed that extra booster mode, a little bit higher fuel flow rate. When it's flashing slowly, as you can see on the car on screen at the moment, that means the driver has used it, he's come off that button, he's not allowed to use it for 30 seconds, or a minute, I think it is. And that means he's liable to be overtaken by the cars behind him. Those lights on the roll hoop will change colour as the race goes on, as they use up what's allowed on the boost. As ZPS fires off some speed comparisons. The slowest time in Q1 at Suzuka for Formula 1 was a 1:31.2. The pole time for these cars in Suzuka this year was 1:36.3. We'll talk more about how fast these cars are in a moment.
Now, one of the other things to look into, of course, is Yamamoto leading this race. This is a very, very short track, as we mentioned several times in the run-up. The pole time was a 1:03. Now, those who have pitted are already 55 seconds to 1 minute behind the leader, Yamamoto. Yamamoto may soon be in a position where he actually starts getting slowed up by some of the drivers who've actually already stopped. Some of the drivers who have stopped have changed onto the medium tyre. They're on a slightly slower tyre. So this could get into a position where Yamamoto could actually start getting held up. Now, will his team start thinking about, do they need to pit soon because of that?
Well, I think you might be right there, Leigh, because if you look at the lap times, Lucas Auer, his last time past the stripe was a 1:08.8. Oh, no, I think maybe they've both run into the same problem, because Lucas Auer's taken a second out of Naoki Yamamoto in the last few laps, as we see Nick Cassidy now. Well, there's that battle. Now, that's the car that Christian Charpentier used to drive, but doesn't drive anymore. Trying to...
on wheels on the grass there.
Now, this is the Dan Tictum group with Shosuboi there. They seem to have lost a car off the front of that pairing as the Red Bull branded car. And that's the smoke you see coming out of the back of those cars through that long final corner is just the cars bottoming out. But we have lost the car there.
No, Kunimoto's actually passed Sukagoshi. He's actually already 5 seconds up the road.
Wow.
And that is Shosuboi and Tictum are now being held up so badly by Sukagoshi, they've already dropped 5-6 seconds behind. And in a space of only a couple of laps.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Only 150 likes for this sort of action. Seriously, everybody's got to like and subscribe as we talk more about... Now, that's not Shosuboi. That is his teammate out on track on his own. Yeah, out on track on his own. Not quite sure why we're looking at him. He was the leading driver who's actually has stopped. He is currently 38 seconds behind Yamamoto. And he's got a very, very clear road ahead of him. He is doing laps in the 1:09s at the moment. So it's not really a comparable speed with Yamamoto at this point in the race. Yeah, but the key point is he's doing those 1:09s on clear track. He's on the soft tyres. We see a replay of the start. Naoki Yamamoto, also on the soft tyre, is currently doing slightly better 1:09s, but his best lap is not as good as Nojiri's best lap. So it's a little bit of a stalemate in the war. Now, we do know Yamamoto's got to stop for the medium tyre. Could that leave Yamamoto exposed to Nojiri, who's going to go the race distance on these soft tyres? Unless, of course, we get a safety car, which I think we're going to. Well, there we see a different angle of the race start.
It was a very good start, actually, by Kobayashi.
And there is Yamamoto, reigning champion in both Super Formula and Super GT. Lots of speculation that he would race a not a Super Aguri, a Scuderia Toro Rosso car in Formula One at some point this season. I'm told that's not going to happen, not because he hasn't got enough Super license points, because he has, but he doesn't fancy it.
Well, I'd fancy doing one race at least.
Yeah, I know, absolutely I would, but no, apparently he's not really up for doing Formula One. He's got a family, he's 30-something, and just doesn't really fancy it.
So we have a Yamamoto there leading from our Makino Harrison Nui in 4th place. Hirakawa currently 5th, Palu 6th position as the race begins to play out.
Now, we're watching 2 races in one here, aren't we?
We are. And one of the drivers we are watching on screen at the moment is 8th place there. The green car towards the rear of that pack is Kazuki Nakajima. Now, Sam, Kazuki Nakajima has had quite an exciting, quite an interesting week, shall we say. A winner of the Le Mans 24 Hours last week for the 2nd time, and he also, in winning that race alongside Fernando Alonso and Sebastian Buemi, became the first Japanese driver to ever ever win an FIA World Championship title.
Now, I mean, that's pretty impressive, but I wonder if that's going to affect his driving this week as he gets onto the back of Sekiguchi. Doesn't appear to be, but I mean, that load of winning a race, all the media attention, it's going to make you tired. As we're looking at Yamamoto on lap 10. Just a little bit of an update. Oshima has now also pitted. Artem Markelov, who started at the back of the field, is up to 10th, but he's still to stop. And Oshima, who has stopped, is in front of Markelov.
Markelov's doing 1:11s at the moment, compared to the drivers ahead who's doing 1:9s, 1:8s. So he's really not in contention at the moment. The pace just sadly isn't there for him, as we see Yamamoto crossing the line to complete another lap. There's 10 laps in the bag.
1:08.8 there for Yamamoto. Now he's having to pump in the laps to look out for guys like this. That's car 37, Nick Cassidy, who has already stopped in his Toyota-powered car, and he and other. Yeah, but he and other guys in the second half of the field, in below sort of 10th position and back, who have made their pit stops, are all out in clean air trying to race on pit strategy to get the lead. So while the field is a bit strung out at the moment, it's all going to come back together progressively through the race. Safety car comes out. Anyone who hasn't stopped is in trouble. But it's very surprising to see them all stop so early, and they must expect the softs to be able to go very, very long.
Absolutely, and we're not really seeing, still early in the race, we're not really seeing much degradation as it stands at the moment. The drivers in the 1:8s, 1:9s for the most part, it's still the same pace that we were seeing at the very beginning of the race. There's a few other drivers who are maybe not matching that, but haven't really matched that pace all weekend. But the tyre wear does seem to plateau for quite a while, and we may not see real drop-off until much later in the race. As you see Nakajima still chasing Sekiguchi for 7th position. Hasn't been the easiest to start to the season in Super Formula for Nakajima. He actually didn't finish at all in Suzuka, and last time out at Autopolis came home 13th, so no points on the board yet for the Le Mans winner. Sekiguchi just ahead, of course, was the race winner at Autopolis and is currently 3rd in the championship with 10 points.
Now, this battle between Nakajima and indeed the car in front of him is beginning to hot up, but I don't know, is Nakajima still in Le Mans mode, thinking that he might hang back on the back of Sekiguchi? Sekiguchi is one of these drivers we haven't really seen outside of Japan very much, but he really is one of the top guys in the field at the moment.
Absolutely, and they're holding pace. I think what's really happening here is you've got a gap starting with Hirakawa in 5th place. Hirakawa is running slightly slower than the 4 ahead of him. Hirakawa's actually dropped 5 seconds behind 4th place Harrison Nui. And the pace for Hirakawa in 5th, Palu 6th, Sekiguchi 7th, Nakajima in 8th, really is actually been held in check by Hirakawa himself, and they're all gingerly. Hirakawa, of course, the only one in the top 8, actually the only driver in the field now on medium tyres.
Now you can see on the screen who has pitted and who has not. Up to 9th position though, Tomoki Nojiri in the Team Mugen car is the first of the guys who has pitted. So he is in a straight battle with Naoki Yamamoto for the lead, we think. But you've got to be... We need someone like Paul Trustwell working out the graphs here to see how these laps are comparing to each other.
I do think Nojiri needs to start to take more time out of Yamamoto eventually, and it'll be interesting to see if that will change the course of the race. As Yamamoto, he is on soft tyres as well. Both of them are on soft tyres, but Yamamoto's tyres, they're not that much older than Nojiri's to create... I mean, Nojiri pitted at the end of lap 1.
Just a big thank you to Manuel Arazo for that donation. That's how we keep racing here on Let's Go Racing, the channel you're watching. This Super Formula 2019 Super Formula Round 3 on. These engines sound better than the V8s. Yes, they do. When you hear them in person, the way they pop and crackle and whistle is absolutely fantastic. I think this is the real future of racing engines. Based on the global race engine concept, first dreamt up by Ulrich Beretsky of Audi Sport, and only now just recently introduced to DTM, already used in Super GT. Fantastic racing there as well. Well, Yamamoto is working up his way up, but he's now catching at the back of the field. That's Dan Ticktum there, and now this is what he's getting. How long does a pit stay in lap, pit, out take here at Sportsland Sugo? It's a very short lap, and is losing the lead lap going to be as much of a loss to these guys in front? Because he's lapping now the field up to, well, that's quite a long way up the field, isn't it?
He's behind Ticktum, so he has already lapped Markelov.
He's already lapped Markelov, and he's working up to 19th and 18th. And Oshima is there in 17th, you can see.
But this is what I was mentioning earlier on. He's now coming up to the back of the field. His pace is going to be affected by these drivers because Ticktum, Sushoboy are only in the 1 minute 10s, 1 minute 11s, that kind of area. Whereas the likes of Nojiri, 9th place, the first of the stoppers, he's still doing early 1 minute 9s. So if Yamamoto gets caught up in this battle for much longer, he could end up losing quite a lot of time. At the same time, he also take into account, as Ticktum pulls over, but does Yamamoto eventually gets through. Now, the other issue for Yamamoto is he doesn't necessarily want to change to the medium tyres now.
Yeah.
If what we saw on the first lap of the race is true, where they're struggling to get that much tyre temperature in, if he puts on the medium tyres now, it could lock him into a pace, which will eventually lose him the race anyway.
Well, big thank you to Charles Riley. But I mean, this is absolutely fascinating, isn't it? Because if I was Yamamoto's crew, I would be like, well, you're going to get slowed down by all of these back markers, so dive into the pits and change your boots. But as you say, he has to change onto the medium tyre, which should be slower. The only car in the field on medium tyres, that said, is currently running in 5th place. That's Ryo Hirakawa, and he's running 109.9s at the moment. So it's over a second a lap slower on this very short lap. So it is a big penalty to run onto those mediums at this point.
And just an image we saw there a few moments ago, we didn't really expect to see, of course, was Lucas Auer in one Red Bull liveried car, putting a lap on the other Red Bull supported driver of Dan Ticktum. And of course, Auer still has to pit, but that's not really an image that Ticktum really wants to project, especially now as he's fighting for super license points, as he's looking for a career in Formula 1.
Well, Ticktum, as it sits, is not going to get the adequate number of super license points this season. I think he needs to be 4 better in the Super Formula Championship. He's currently sitting in 13th, and he's got a lot of work to do this season. And right now, sitting there down in 19th, he's not going to score any points for the second race running. Though he has stopped, he hasn't shown any pace this weekend. Though of the 2 Red Bull drivers, Lucas Auer is the one who is showing the better pace this season. But the best Red Bull involved driver of all this season who isn't in Formula 1, of course, is Nick Cassidy, currently sitting 11th in on the grid. Had a very strange qualifying session. Looked like there may have been a problem with his car, but he has made a pit stop, and he's the 3rd position car of those who have pitted. He could be in quite a plumb position for a decent result at the end of this race. But a long way to go. Lap 17 of 68 here at Sportsland Sugo. You're watching Let's Go Racing, and this is round 3 of the Super Formula Championship.
Now we are watching the battle here between Hirakawa, Peiru Sakaguchi and Kazuki Nakajima. Hirakawa, as we mentioned a few moments ago, he's doing late He's now actually into the 1 minute 10s, and this is drastically damaging the Pelu, Sekiguchi's, and Nakajima's race. All these drivers have yet to pit, yet they do not have enough to actually overhaul Hirakawa. Actually, the top 4 have driven away from these drivers. Harrison Nui currently in 4th place, doing a very, very good job. He's got an 8-second advantage over Hirakawa. And as we see, there's more Team Impul guys.
Hirakawa's tyres there.
Now, will they ping him? Because he hasn't got the pace at the moment, and it's not working out for him. But at the same time, if he changes his tyres now, his race is kind of knackered anyway. Now, the gap between Yamamoto leading this race and 9th place Onjiri, who's the first driver out there who has pitted, is now down to 36 seconds. Yamamoto lost almost 3 seconds in lapping those drivers and lapping Tiktam and Shosuboi a few laps ago, and now he's going to be coming up to other drivers soon as well in that pack, such as Shishima and Sakagoshi and Kunimoto, etc.
Well, there's 3 factors now for the likes of Naoki Yamamoto, Lukasawa, Tadeushi Makino, and Harrison Nui, who are the top 4 runners who haven't stopped. They're going to be hoping and praying for a safety car. That could make their pit strategy work and then have to race back through the field. Fuel loads. How much fuel is in some of their cars? How far can they go? Are they lighter? I don't think so, but it is a refueling strategy. And then the other thing they've got to be hoping and praying for is tyre degradation for those who made that very early stop onto these soft tyres. How far can this Yokohama rubber last around the 68? I mean, some of the guys are trying to do 67 laps on these Yokohama soft tyres. They're simply not designed to go that far. Will they get significant performance degradation at the end of the race? It's a bit of a chess game here at the moment, but I think it's going to get really well. Someone said on the chat that these engines sound like a cheap firework, and it sounds fantastic. Well, I think there's going to be fireworks at the end of this race, so do stay tuned here on Let's Go Racing, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe so we can bring you lots more racing action from around the world. We've already done a deal to show a new series or a new event. That will be announced later in a few weeks' time, but that's going to be quite an exciting one to cover. And there's a few more announcements to come through the season as Let's Go Racing gets up and running.
Pele's really not enjoying this, stuck behind Hirakawa in 6th place. He actually showed some very, very good pace through practice and qualifying, was initially 2nd on the grid before his crash, bringing out the red flag, meant his time was deleted. So to be stuck in... He didn't have a great start and now stuck in 6th place. This race really is falling away from him.
And if you look at the gap from Palu back to Nojiri, who is the first of the pit stoppers, it's not a particularly large gap. I think it's only about 10-15 seconds. And so if he pits now, he's going straight to the back of the field.
This is going to drop Pelu in around the kind of Sukagoshi-Yoshima kind of gap, which is currently 16th, 17th position.
Yeah, and out of the points, crucially. Score points down to 8th position, I think it is here in Super Formula.
It is like the old Formula 1 scoring system of 10, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and a point for pole position.
And the points mean championships. Unless you're Dan Tickton, points mean, well, more points so you can go and race in Formula 1. But as it stands, he hasn't got anywhere near enough points and isn't going to score any this time either. But this is Sportsland Sugo. We still have 48 laps to run. Anything can happen in Super Formula.
Now, Yamamoto is in a position at the moment where he has lapped up to show Sugoi. He has now got a small gap to Oshima at least, and I think it may be about 4 or 5 seconds is his gap in between before he laps the next driver.
Yeah, but the problem with Yamamoto is he's got a 36-second advantage over Nojiri, and that's the difference between pit stop and not pit stop, and you can't make a tyre change and refuel a Super Formula car in 36 seconds. As well as driving in and out of the pit stop, of course. So he is not, while he is leading the race on the timing screen, he is currently not leading the race in strategy terms. Well, into the pits comes one of the team.
It's Hirakawa. He's oh my word, a brake dust coming out of that.
Well, the Team Impul crew putting on there. There's a lot of those are very hot brakes. And onto the soft tyres, fairly routine pit stop. Out he goes.
I wonder, could that also be a reason as to some of his slower pace as well? Maybe not able to lean on the brakes quite as much. around some of the corners around here. But it does release Pelu, it does release Sakaguchi, it does release Nakajima now. As I was right. Hirakawa's ended up just behind Sakaguchi.
Yeah, and that's not where he wants to be. It's quite a long way down the field, you see. So there's no points for that, and no tyre warmer. So it takes a little few moments to get up to speed. That's why they come out of the pits quite so slowly and gingerly. There's a stone cold tyre. It's like when you go down to the rental go-karting centre and you take over a kart because you smashed your own one up, because I never do that. And you come out and it just feels like completely undrivable because you're on cold tyres.
And to illustrate this, Pelu, Sakaguchi, Kazuki Nakajima have all dropped 21 to 23 seconds behind race leader Yamamoto. So that's a lot of that, how much they lost behind Hirakawa. And it's really cost them their race. Ajiri, by the way, now in the points in 8th place. The highest pitted driver, 37 seconds behind Yamamoto, as the race leader gets a bit of pace on. He's pulled a 3.2 second gap over second place Lucas Auer at the moment.
Well, you look at looking just there at Nakajima at the top of your screen in the green and white cars. We mentioned good result for Toyota in Le Mans, couldn't be better, literally. However, not looking like a great day for Toyota here at Sportsland Sugo. The highest placed Toyota in the field at the moment is Yuhi Sakaguchi, who hasn't stopped, you see, and that's what I was talking about. And then with Nakajima behind it. But neither of these cars have stopped. They'll fall to the back of the field. Nojiri and Fukuzumi, both Honda drivers, will move up, leaving Kamui Kobayashi, the highest placed Toyota driver. And I think he may struggle to score any points at all.
The highest running Toyota driver who so far pitted is actually Cassidy. As a meme of a channel asks, do Super Formula go by FIA rules and how the top 10 have to start in the tyres they qualified with? I don't think so. I think
no, this is not Formula One.
Yeah. So Cassidy is actually the highest running Toyota power driver who is pitted. He's actually just ahead of Kobayashi now.
You know the Toyota engine used in the Super Formula cars, this sort of 650, 700 horsepower, 4-cylinder turbo engine with direct injection and all those wonderful things. You can actually buy this engine as a kit of parts from TRD in Yokohama.
Really?
Yeah, so they designed it. It's called the Biz 001, and you can just get in touch with TRD in Yokohama, and I think you have to buy it via Tom's or a company like that, but you can get a kit of parts and build this engine into whatever project you're working on. They want to see it as a completely commercial race engine. Unlike the Honda engine, which is not commercially available and is only used in Super Formula and Super GT, the Toyota engine is based on the Super GT engine, but not the same spec as the Super GT engine. Apparently, Toyota use a much higher grade of materials and metals and mapping and bits and pieces of Toyota wonderful magic.
One of the things we were looking at last night when we were doing the prep for this race, and we've seen so far in this race, is how much the cars bottom out coming through that kind of parabolica Paratata type corner. Final corner is the long, lingering kind of right-hander.
You mean 100R and final corner?
Absolutely, that one. But how much they bottom out coming through that corner, you get a very nice puff of blue smoke as the floors just bounce off the ground.
Well, it is low, but I mean, that's got to have an effect on the way the car handles due to the downforce, because when you hit the floor, so it's almost called porpoising as we're getting a little bit of flappery going on.
Yeah, that's on Shima there.
When the floor hits the ground of the car, you momentarily lose a bit of downforce because you stalled out the whole floor. A lot of that downforce comes from the floor of the car, not from the wings. And when you see the cars bottoming you like that, it makes them it must be fairly skittish behind the wheel.
So we're looking at now the battle for 10th and 11th place. This is, as we mentioned a few moments ago, Nick Cassidy and Kamui Kobayashi. Cassidy, in the Tom's car there in the green. These are the leading Toyota drivers who have pitted, and I think they will be very much leading Toyota drivers when Sakaguchi and Nakajima eventually do stop. As Kobayashi's going for a position, he's got his overtake on, as does Cassidy, and closes the door going into turn one.
Kobayashi was basically totally ruined his corner there. Got a wheel on the dirt.
He got a bit of a wobble on the approach as well.
He was so far offline, so he just hadn't got a chance of making that work. Cassidy was just a little bit wily there and just went, yeah, no, I'm not having that. And they both, and that's why there's such a gap now. So Kobayashi went a little bit too aggressive on that one.
Both of these drivers now in the 1 minute 8s, 1 minute 9s, and still holding a very, very good pace. But there's just over 42 laps to go in this race. And they have to make their tyres last right very much to the end, and that's going to be a hell of a challenge, especially in those final few laps.
Well, questions coming in on the chat. We'd like to hear from you all during the race. People asking, has the chicane been removed in the final corner? Well, as you just saw on the screen, no. It hasn't been removed in the final corner. They just don't use it for Super Formula or indeed Super GT. It's a motorcycle chicane. Or as Fernando Alonso might call it, a motorcycle chicken. Alonso has tested one of these cars. He tested the previous generation, the SF14. There's question marks about some other interesting names testing some of these SF19 cars. Be interesting to see who actually comes out. There's a big rookie test at the end of the year, where all drivers get to, well, different drivers get to run out in these SF19s for the first time. James Guthrie says, Sam and Leigh, what's your favourite SF race so far in 2019? This one, James. Absolutely, because we've only had 3. And this is the third.
It's difficult because both Suzuka and Autopolis were very, very good races, but for very different reasons.
Yeah, and I think this one is playing out to be quite a. This is a very interesting strategy race, which I absolutely love. As Nakajima still trying to get it done on Sakaguchi.
It's a little bit of a slow burner.
Yeah, but I think it's as I
like
mentioned earlier.
Star
Trek 2. Which is that? Search for Sport.
No, Wrath of Khan.
Oh, okay, yeah, right.
Anyway. As we see.
I'm just going to leave you there. I'm just going to leave you there. I'm going to leave you hanging on that one.
Sakaguchi still battling with Kazuki Nakajima over 6th and 7th places. They're running very much in the late 1 minute 9s. They've lost so much time, unfortunately, in this first stint of the race. And as we mentioned earlier on, Nakajima's not scored any points so far in Super Formula. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to pick up any today. Sakaguchi really wanted a big score. As mentioned, he won at Autopolis a few weeks ago after starting in 16th place, but he didn't finish the first race in Suzuka, so the only points he's garnered so far were from Autopolis. As we see, Nakajima not quite close enough. You need to be quite a bit closer coming out that final corner to really get a run on into turn 1, as we saw a few moments ago with Cassidy and Kobayashi.
Oh, the way the camera just cut to Yamamoto there, we've got a great little scrap there going.
Tsukugoshi.
And it was no, it's not Sakaguchi. It's his teammate.
No, Sokakoshi.
Yes, no, but in the team import car.
Oshima.
It's Oshima. Yeah.
Dan, that is a battle for 17th, 18th place. One thing I just wanted to mention as well, we saw Cassidy and Kobayashi there battling over 10th and 11th positions. They've already pitted. They're only 45, 46 seconds behind the leader.
Yes.
So once Yamamoto, or Makino, etc. pit, we could see Cassidy and Kobayashi actually climb up to the top 6, top 7.
I think that's exactly what we're going to see, even higher actually. But if you're looking at Yamamoto, what I think is staking everything on. If you can look at the difference between the leader and where they are, so Hirakawa and Tsukugoshi are 103 and 104 on a 1 minute 9 lap. So they're the next targets for Naoki Yamamoto to lap. Now, if a safety car comes out at that point, Yamamoto then essentially gets the full lap advantage and holds it after the pit stop over those guys. However, if there isn't a safety car, Yamamoto is in big, big trouble.
I think that what the telling point is, where Cassidy and Kobayashi are at the moment, that's about 45, 46 seconds behind the leader, they will probably just come out, once Harrison Newey pits, they will come out just ahead of Harrison Newey. So they're looking at a net kind of 4th, 5th, 6th place at the moment. And that's a big win for Cassidy, particularly as he started down in 14th position in this race.
I'm just trying to map out the strategy at the moment. Still some tyre temperature introduced there, which is interesting. As we see the weaving down there, it's Sakaguchi weaving back and forth. Now you'd think he's trying to keep heat in his tyres, but he's not stopped, and they're the soft tyres. You'd think he'd have temperature by now. And is he struggling? Because Nakajima is looking very threatening on the back of him now, more so than previous laps. Taking a slightly wider line, good move to do to get the clean air.
It's far more aggressive entry through this section.
He's having a go.
As we see an overtake just ahead of them, but
is Sakaguchi really warming his tyres or pretending? That is Dan Ticktum doing something. No, it's actually, I'll tell you, it's Dan Ticktum doing something on Markelov, I think.
It's a battle for 19th and 20th position.
Yeah, it's Ticktum on Markelov. Two drivers.
They're running into 1 minute 12, Sam.
Yeah. Ticktum and Markelov, I mean, you can see the pace difference. Oh, now Markelov absolutely backs out of it. Two drivers who have been tipped with Formula One futures, but really aren't showing their performance here. Super Formula, one of the wonderful things about it as a series is it pictures drivers who have established reputations in junior Formula in Europe, who come out to Japan and meet experienced drivers, possibly for the first time in their careers, and it's a very good gauging for how actually capable those drivers are. Obviously, Pierre Gasly was nearly champion of this championship, but decided to go and do some Formula One races instead and missed out on the championship for just a few points. And it's proven to be competent, I think you could say, in Formula One. He hasn't blown the field away. Certainly he's got a very tough teammate to get past, but he's proven competent in Formula One. Whereas you see other drivers, he's not warming the tyres, he's just trying not to get overtaken. He's pretending.
Is it a distraction method? Really,
yeah, I think it's exactly what he's doing. Other drivers, of course, like Stoffel van Dorn, were relatively effective, but not front runners. Not enough likes, only 337 if you like this sort of stuff. You need at least 500, come on.
Now, one of the developing things, as was mentioned a few times, Nojiri at the moment is the highest placed driver who's actually taken a stop. He's now fallen 41 seconds behind Yamamoto, and I think Yamamoto's done a lot in the last few laps to just pull that gap out. As you see the gap on screen there, that needs approximately 35 seconds, 36 seconds for a pit stop in Super Formula at this track so far. So right now Yamamoto has pulled just enough, maybe a 4 to 5 second gap. The thing about pit strategy in categories like Super Formula, as you mentioned, there is no tire warmers in this, so it's not just a case of having a gap to do the pit stop, go into the pits, get changed and come back out again. You need an additional gap to actually as a guard against being overtaken when you're on cold tires. As you see Nakajima getting a little bit more aggressive now. I think he's sensing that he can take Sekiguchi.
I think he realises this is actually...
It's falling away from him.
Yeah, the radio message must have gone out from the pit wall saying, look, you can't hang around now like this. You need to get a move on because Sekiguchi's holding you up and you need to get stuck into those Honda cars in front of you because right now, with the lap difference to Yamamoto, you're nowhere.
Looking at if they were to pit now, they would probably drop down behind, around Kunimoto, which is currently 14th, 15th position. It's really not working for them at this moment.
And out of the points, which makes it pointless. But still...
And you can see a lot of the corners now, Nakajima is getting a lot more aggressive now.
Yeah, he is, but he's also running wide. He ran wide in that last corner. It gapped him a little bit. Now he's sort of getting straight back onto the back of him. He's sort of latching on, but he's still not getting it done as we go for this long final corner.
Sekiguchi's in 1 minute 10s now. One of Nakajima feels he can go much quicker if he gets past him. He's much quicker this time around.
He's still too
not
far
enough.
away.
It's not enough.
And Sekiguchi, flicked the car into a defensive mode, and that was a mistake, I think, because it slowed him down slightly. And Nakajima is now right on his tail.
It's taken Sekiguchi completely offline, but Sekiguchi has enough to kind of recover, keep Nakajima behind.
Sekiguchi seems to be getting better drive out of the corners actually than Nakajima, because every time he comes out of the corner, he just gaps him a little bit as Sekiguchi twitches a little bit on what must be now known as minivan corner. The real name of minivan corner is, of course, S-shaped curve. Because it's S-shaped.
That's Markelov in the background, by the way. He's now fallen by. He's back to the Markelov lap now by the top 10.
And it's hot action on track, but we are going to get some real wheel-to-wheel dicing. Yamamoto now lapped everybody up to 16th, 15th and 16th now squarely in his sights right in front of him. You can't see it on screen, but trust me, he is. Hirakawa must be sitting right in front of Yamamoto. And he'll pull over and let him by. They all know they're going to get back past him when he finally makes a pit stop. Lap 34, 68 laps, halfway through the race, and half the field has made pit stops.
What's interesting, though, as well, is that in 8th and 9th place at the moment, Nojiri and Fukuzumi Once all the pit stops kind of come together, it'll probably come out around 3rd and 4th place. But Fukuzumi, he's actually quite close to Nojiri, and it's going to be a challenge for the final podium position later on in this race. As I said, as the other stops kind of take over. As we see, still Sakaguchi being chased and challenged by Nakajima now. A lot of sections of the circuit really are very, very, very reminiscent of Brands Hatch.
It's got a bit of lots of different things about this circuit, but it is it's what I call a proper track, and it's a proper old school racetrack. And all the drivers who go out to Japan always rave about Sportsland Sugo. Notably, this is one of the 3 tracks in Japan where Michael Schumacher competed.
Really?
When he competed in Superform. Now here we're going to go. He's all over the back of him. Nakajima's got the flashing lights on. He's going to try and go high, go around the outside, sends him a dummy. Oh, it doesn't quite work to go up the inside. Sakaguchi was wise to that. Wise old heads on both of these drivers now. And Nakajima, see, they both seem to be... I wonder if they're both running out of tyres. They're both twitching about the track a little bit at the moment now. We're seeing a lot of movement from both of these cars. They are pushing them to the limit, but the cars are moving around on the track, twitching about. Now, that's interesting because 35 laps, if that is the life of the soft tyre...
There's a lot of drivers going to be in trouble then who've already stopped. So many drivers actually did stop on lap 1, lap 1 and lap 2 to get the medium tyres off and change to the soft. And on one hand, you can see the medium tyre is very much quite a slower tyre of this circuit, but you've got to balance that against putting on the softs. Yes, you get that pace for the first 35, 40 laps, but this is a 68 lap race. You've got 25 laps then when your pace really falls off as we switch to the battle for 10th and 11th position between Nick Cassidy and Kamui Kobayashi.
Kobayashi's really can't get it done on Cassidy. And again, Cassidy is one of these drivers that has sort of disappeared off to Japan and people have sort of forgotten about in Europe. But this is a driver who very realistically could end up in Formula 1 as early as next season.
And, you know, it's a 3-time New Zealand Grand Prix winner, Nick Cassidy, twice Toyota Racing Series champion. He was in the European Formula 3 Championship for a while, just drastically underfunded, really, compared to other drivers. And unfortunately, didn't quite come together. I think it was 2013, 2014, I think. They just didn't quite come together there. But such a stunningly quick driver.
Multiple Super GT Championship.
And you know, Cassidy is another driver you can potentially see doing extremely well in something like LMP1 or LMP in that kind of level as well.
Yeah, LMP1's dead though, isn't it?
Or hypercar, whatever they call it.
So looking at where you're all watching from around the world, Railfan608, great name. It's 6 p.m. in New Zealand, 7 a.m. in the UK. Helen Tiller's joined us in northeast England. Beth Tender is there. Tuesday, it's 16 a.m. Tuesday in Sydney. That's not right. It's definitely not Tuesday in Sydney. It's 2 a.m. in Maryland in the north. It's 2 a.m. in Maryland. It's 2 p.m. in central Indonesia. 11:49 in Nepal. Pretty good there. And it's 9:04 in Belarus.
I do believe that's how Murray Walker was introduced to Grand Prix, actually.
9:04 in central Indonesia.
As we continue to watch the battle on screen.
Well, it's interesting because
Nakajima again.
Yeah, it's all about the top 2 Team Toms cars. Vantolin Team Toms. These green and white cars are making all of the action for us. One is Nakajima trying to get past another car, and one is defending. Nick Cassidy against Kobayashi is the other battle, which you can't see on screen at the moment. And there's Artem Markelov driving around at the back of the field. I liked Artem Markelov's modified crash helmet at Monaco. He didn't have the correct branding on, so he put a little sticker on and just wrote Pirelli on it. Just put a bit of gaffer tape, just wrote the word Pirelli on it, so it met the regulations. Santiago Velez Restrepo. One day you are first at Le Mans, the next day you're P7 and P11. Everything changes in motor racing. Yes, it really does. Now, look at the right front tyre of car 19 there, Yuhi Sakaguchi. You can see now the degradation and the wear appearing on that tyre. There's a very distinctive band of tyre, wear and damage on that right front tyre. Those tyres are definitely beginning to scream enough. There is Kamui Kobayashi, who's probably screaming enough of Nick Cassidy's rear end, and he wants to get in front and give Cassidy a sniff of Kobayashi's rear.
Kobayashi's actually just really upped the pace. He's now jumped into the 1:08, which is generally the fastest pace in around the fastest pace of this lap. Cassidy's still hanging around the 1 minute 9s. And again, it's a balance. They're trying to make these soft tyres last. You can try and pump in those 1 minute 8s as much as you like, but if it ends up destroying the tyres quicker, that's not necessarily the way you want to go. But also, he's stuck behind Cassidy and therefore really needs to make hay while he can. They are very much in a battle now with Harrison Newey. I was about to say Adrian Newey. Harrison Newey for what will be 4th position overall once this race, 4th and 5th position overall once this race finishes.
Now Naoki Yamamoto is just trying to get this done. He's doing his best, some of his best lap times of the race. 108.6 last time by. His best lap of the race is another slightly faster 108.6. Fastest man on track so far today, though, has been Lucas Auer, the Red Bull driver, with 108.8. And Anderson Neo is asking about the speed comparison between these Super Formula cars and, well, everything else. Well, these Super Formula cars are quicker than Le Mans prototypes. It's quicker than LMP1, they're quicker than Super GT cars. They're quicker than pretty much everything but Formula 1, which is slightly faster. To give you a direct comparison, these SF19s are about the same speed as a midfield Formula 1 car in 2014. Sort of Force India level or Sport Peas Racing Punkt, as they're called now.
I thought the team was called Stroll Racing.
Ah, that's it.
See Yamamoto out front. He's got a gap now of 5.7 seconds over Lucas Auer. I must admit, my pre-race prediction of Lucas Auer winning, Alex Pelou second, Yamamoto winning Yamamoto third isn't really quite coming through. But you predicted very Yamamoto win.
Yeah, but I don't think Yamamoto is going to win. This strategy he's working on at the moment is drive like hell and hope to get a big enough gap if something happens in the race. But at the moment, he hasn't got quite the big enough gap, I don't think, to make a stop, get back out in front and carry on.
I think he may have just edged enough over Nigiri, though. I think the gap now to Nigiri is 42 seconds, so he may just have enough of a gap to do the stop, but also take into account how slow he'll be on the outlap as well.
The question is...
Generally, when the outlap with cold tyres, you're looking at losing potentially, because Artem Markov really holding up.
It's like he's driving a minivan, frankly.
I really don't understand where the pace is, because Markov is a quick driver. He is actually a very, very quick driver. For whatever reason, it just hasn't seemed to have worked so far in Japan. But he is a very, very quick driver, and I cannot understand where his pace is at the moment.
Well, Naoki Yamamoto has just set his fastest lap of the race so far on those 40-lap-old soft tyres.
1 minute 8.3.
Which will be good news to those who are worried about the degradation, and bad news to Yamamoto, who was hoping the degradation would be higher.
So the issue now that Yamamoto has is he is now just about the gap. He would actually slot in just ahead of Sakaguchi.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to get in the position where he ends up fighting with Sakaguchi or ending up just behind Sakaguchi and Nakajima, because then he would lose tons of time.
You're going to start talking about undercuts and overcuts and underwear and tyre wear.
I'm not going to talk about underwear. But what the only benefit, if he makes just enough of a gap over Sakaguchi to actually get ahead of him, that then puts 2 cars in between Yamamoto and Nojiri, and that would probably... Yes, the gap to Nojiri is now 47 seconds, and he's got 41.7 over Sakaguchi. That would give him a solid gap, because there's 12 seconds between 5th and 6th position. That would put Yamamoto in clean air, but he needs to get out and not lose a position on cold tyres. And that's where finding that key gap is absolutely crucial. The gap, interestingly enough, between Harrison Newey, we've mentioned this already, Harrison Newey and the Cassidy-Kobayashi battle is 24 seconds. So when Newey pits, he will drop in behind them as well, and probably lose maybe to Kenta Yamashita as well. Harrison Newey's not actually scored any points yet in Super Formula, so he's actually doing a very, very good job so far in this race.
Speaking of good jobs, the Vantolin Team Tom's battles continue, with Nakajima still trying to get past Sakaguchi and Kumi Kobayashi still trying to get past Nick Cassidy.
You can really sense Nakajima's frustration in there. He desperately trying to get ahead of Sakaguchi, but just does not have enough of an advantage to make the move. Doesn't have enough of the advantage where it really counts, coming out of that final, the 100-hour corner, to really make the move into turn 1.
And are all these Toyota-powered cars sort of holding each other up and giving the game to the Honda power? Because right now, Honda is dominating this race.
So once Sakaguchi and Nakajima stop, it would mean Cassidy and Kobayashi are the highest placed Toyota drivers.
It's going to be interesting to see when Yamamoto does actually stop. Is he going to try and do what I believe Sebastian Vettel did at the Italian Grand Prix in Monza many moons ago?
Pit on the last lap.
Pit on the last lap.
Sorry, yeah, it was the beginning of the last lap. It was, wasn't it? In the end of the Bridgestone era.
That race.
It definitely wasn't a Pirelli race.
No, I think it was Pirelli's.
No, it was because he went...
I'm pretty sure it was because there were HRTs in that race. It was the first year of the HRTs. So
yeah, that was Bridgestone cars. Anyway.
2010?
Yeah, Pirelli's came in 2011.
There you go then.
Anyway, as we see on screen, that is Nojiri. He's the highest running driver who has pitted so far. And as it stands, looking pretty solid for second place, but he has got Fukuzumi just behind him.
See, look at those lap times. Nojiri now is getting... His best lap was on lap 3, but you look at his lap times now, they're all sort of in the 109s. That's not because he's forgotten how to drive. That is the performance of the car dropping off. But Yamamoto is finding a way to make the laps work, putting in 108.7s at the moment, which is plenty quick enough. The rest of the field running in pretty much, with a few exceptions, are running in the 109s.
The advantage Yamamoto has now is he can pit at his leisure. He can tailor the strategy of his race to whatever he feels like, because he has enough of a gap. Nojiri, Fukuzumi, etc. Because they all stopped at the end of the first lap, their strategy, their die is cast. They are stuck resolutely with what they have, and do not have the flexibility.
Well, driver to watch, and you pegged him last night. A driver to watch with... He could be on course for his best ever Super Formula finish, Lucas Auer. Now Yamamoto has gone quicker again with his next quickest. So Yamamoto is just getting faster and faster, which is quite a surprise on these now 45-lap-old soft tyres. Have they found a little thing in these Yokohama soft tyres that there's a little bit of a performance boost just before they fall off the cliff, so to speak? I wonder if that is the characteristic we're seeing, and Yamamoto is fully exploiting it in the clear air he has. Number 1 on the car, number 1 on the track. Naoki Yamamoto leads round 3 of the 2019 Super Formula Championship. You're watching live on Let's Go Racing.
And if it stays like this would be a big win for Yamamoto in the point standings as well, to add to the point he got for pole position yesterday. And he had a 6-point advantage coming into today over Cassidy, and a 7-point advantage over the next running Sekiguchi. Then neither of those drivers are going to be picking up big points today on the basis of what we're seeing so far. Yamamoto 6.3 seconds ahead of Lucas Auer. Tadasuke Makino, 3rd place. We haven't really seen him today, actually.
No, he's had quite a quiet race, but he's still in the hunt, sitting there in 3rd position.
And really, I'm very much on for a podium at the moment.
Well, it's hard to say if he is or not, because we are going to see this issue with them whacking on the mediums, and are the mediums going to be able to hold the pace with the soft tyre? It seems everybody in the field is allergic to the medium tyre. Is it because it's really, really slow on this track, and that is why nobody wants the medium tyre here at Sportsland Sugo? Well, here is the battle for 10th position, which will become a far more relevant battle when the pit stops actually finally happen between Nick Cassidy and Kumi Kobayashi, both on for decent points hauls at the moment. When those pit stops do happen, they will shuffle up the field quite a long way. Cassidy getting a great result earlier in the season, winning from the back. Don't think he's going to manage that this time, though.
No, we've had two results so far this season with drivers winning from the midfield or lower midfield, and definitely probably not going to see a repeat of that today, as we see a gaggle of cars coming from the chicane section.
So just looking at the chat coming in, don't forget to like and subscribe here on Let's Go Racing, and join the channel as well if you want, because we can bring you a lot more racing. Thanks to people who have joined the channel. We're able to bring you lots of great stuff. You get some special member benefits, which may or may not include a secret chat room when we talk about Leo Gorman's feet. And you think that's a joke. Well, anyway, in the chat, questions have come up about where you would like to see Super Formula racing other than the tracks that it currently races at. And the question someone mentioned Super Formula doesn't have a street circuit, and I think a Super Formula on a street circuit would be absolutely epic.
Adelaide, old Adelaide.
Which there is still racing there, of course. So
the shorter version.
The shortened version. So that would be pretty cool. Singapore has been raised as well. See these cars around the Marina Bay circuit there. There was discussion about a not purpose-built, but a new street circuit appearing on Okinawa a while ago. But I don't think those discussions have got much further. If we look at Kamui Kobayashi, though, last street circuit he raced on, I think, would have been, well, Le Mans if you count it, which you can, actually. Yeah, Le Mans is a street circuit.
Tiny stretch of it.
Oh, quite a lot of it. Sector 2 and Sector 3. Most of Sector 3. His roll hoop has gone red, which is why I mentioned him anyway. That is because he's running out of the power boost to get past the car in front as Yamamoto laps inevitably down Tictum. For about the 6th time probably today. How many laps down is Dan Tictum?
I think he's actually is he just lapped?
Two laps, yeah.
Is he just lapped?
It's after Markelov.
It's Markelov, he's just lapped for the second time.
Yes, after Markelov's is 2 laps down. As are a few cars.
And Anthony Hady says, should Super Formula use the current F1 point system?
No.
I don't think it needs to be honest. I don't think it needs to.
Should Formula 1 use the Super Formula point system?
Well, he did once.
Sort of. Point for fastest lap you get. Now, finally, Naoki Yamamoto has remembered he has a pit crew. There are the medium tyres for the reigning champion and the race leader.
What's actually happened? They've actually just arrived at the circuit.
Exactly. That's why he hasn't been able to stop. They were partying last night somewhere and decided to turn up late. Said Naoki will be all right. Well, no. Naoki Yamamoto heading for, this is clearly a pit strategy, but Yamamoto's probably got it on the radio and said his tyres are now crying enough. His last lap was a 109.4, so the tyres have very definitely fallen off the cliff now.
I think that's probably he lost some time lapping.
And now I said that, he just crosses the stripe on a 108.3, so I'm talking nonsense.
Yeah, I think he lost a little bit of time actually lapping somebody in the back markers. I think it was Oshima that. It's the other Team Le Mans car, Markelov's teammate, that Yamamoto lapped that time around.
Well, the pit crew may be waiting, but Yamamoto isn't stopping. Good point was just raised about racetracks we'd like to see Super Formula at. Surfers Paradise. Yeah, good shout.
We'll take the awful, if it were possible.
Manuel Razzo says Sao Paulo, Interlagos, would be a good place to have a race due to the largest Japanese community outside of Japan. I didn't know that. Well, Zaccardo says he quite likes the commentary. Well, we quite like you, Zaccardo, so stick around. Wait for the podium. I like that. 18 laps to go here at Sportsland Sugo, and we're getting pit stops. That's Harrison Newey.
That's Harrison Newey's finally made his stop. Now, it'll be interesting to see whether he drops out in relation to Cassidy and Kobayashi. And is that the little fire?
Yeah, that is a fire.
They've had a fire. And the fire extinguisher's out.
Yeah, trouble for Newey. The car is on fire. We can't see the fire, but I'm telling you it's on fire.
Out of the car. What an absolute shame for Harrison Newey, because he was having a very, 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 very good run today. Was looking at least around the top 5 or something like that, but he's out of the car now. What a great shame for Harrison Newey in the B-Max car.
Oh, and they're pushing it. It's probably the car is still on fire, I suspect. That's why they're urgently pushing it out of the pit box to get it away from the refueling rigs. Now, what's Newey doing? He's hitting the onboard extinguisher?
I think he's getting the steering wheel back on.
No, he's getting back in the... What's he doing?
Well, he's getting the steering wheel back on, isn't
he? No, but there seems to be a lot of urgency from Newey. Get away from the car. No, the car is still on fire. Oh, no, they've given up on it now. Oh, well. That was a moment of drama with a fire that we didn't see, but it was there. Just trust us on it.
That was a great shame for Harrison, because he was running very well. He was running 4th, and with his pit stop probably would have...
Yamamoto is coming into the pits. I can see it on pit road. The crew are finally out. There's a man sitting on some tyres. Lucas Auer is coming in as well. Looking down, Makino too. They're all sitting on their tyres.
So I wonder if they all pitted on the possibility that it may have been a safety car because of the incident in the pit lane.
Yeah, but there isn't going to be. But anyway, here's Yamamoto. Let's see. This is going to be crucial. Will he be able to make this pit stop work out properly? There's a man sitting there on a set of tyres waiting for him. Yeah, there he is.
We're going to see some gymnastics now. Oh, no gymnastics.
Oh, he didn't jump over it. That's a slow way of doing it. They are quite leisurely here, aren't they? Team Dandelion really looking like delicate little flowers. It's not the neatest pit stop, but good enough.
Quite
not going to lose a
rugged,
huge amount of time. Now, where's he going to rejoin? That is Alex Palou stopping as well. We didn't see his pit stop. Makino also coming out, so they're all coming out. Makino right on the tail of Palou as they come out of the pits. That'll be exciting as they get back up to speed. Now, where are they going to rejoin the field?
Now at 3/4 distance, so we're coming into the later stages of this race, and that's not worked out well for.
Oh, he's gone off!
And off! That, well, whatever happens, that will be a penalty regardless. But that was on cold tyres.
That was the Gerhard Berger manoeuvre.
Cold tyres, Palou, who's just shot across the circuit and very, very lucky.
No, he's gone off again. He's really struggling on these tyres. He locked up badly. Palou is really struggling with his stone-cold medium tyres. Perhaps this is what the other driver's trying to avoid, as Soshima, I think, trying to get past him. Very sideways coming out of minivan corner.
It'd be interesting to see how much time are these drivers going to lose on this outlap. And we've seen this in other categories such as DTM and Super GT, where drivers on cold tyres have ended up losing 4 to 5 seconds on the outlap. But
well, there's one of the Dandelion racing cars going past. I'm wondering if that's not Palou, actually.
Has he got, is the tyre on properly?
He's twitching all over the road. But
no, it's Makino. That's
Makino. Yeah, that's Makino. Palou is now leading the race. He's still to stop.
But Makino actually pitted from 3rd place, and he was actually had overtaken Lucas Sauer. And he's gone off. I think the tyres may not be on properly.
No, I think the tyres are on properly. I think the driver isn't. He's going off everywhere on the track on these cold tyres, and I think he just can't. I don't know. Maybe you need to do some of that rental karting when you get the cheap moulded tyres, and just I don't know what his issue is, but he just can't get the temperature.
But interestingly enough, Lucas Auer has taken Nojiri in that pit lane stop.
Exactly.
And so Nojiri losing time, not just in the pit lane, but also losing time on track.
Well,
has actually fallen down to 3rd place.
Oh, as you can see on the screen, the
Kobayashi's got Cassidy. Kobayashi has got Cassidy.
He has. We didn't see that on screen.
Again, Makino's really struggling.
And here we go. There you go. There's Nakajima finally having a go at Sekiguchi. As usual in Super Formula, it all happens mostly at once. Well, Alex Palou leads this race. He was your tip to win the race. He's only 5 seconds ahead of Yamamoto, who is in second, who's come out of the pits in second on those medium tyres.
Actually, my top 3 is currently my first, second, third are currently my top 3. But
yeah, that's not going to stick.
Yeah, it's not going to stick because Palu's got a pit. But Auer is running provisionally 2nd place at the moment, behind Yamamoto. As we see Makino, he's going to lose another position here. One of the Ingen cars.
Yeah, it is one of the Ingen cars just making his way past. That's Ishiura going past Makino. Makino just on these medium tyres just hates them, doesn't he? He just can't deal with it. Kunimoto now.
He's fallen into 10th place. This has really not worked out at all.
40% chance of precipitation, 81% humidity. Could still get a bit of drizzle.
To put this into perspective, Sam, Makino just did a 1 minute 13 around on that lap. The other drivers on the medium tyres have been sliding in 1 minute 9s, 1 minute 10. So I think it's just Makino has, whatever reason, he has just absolutely had a dire first couple of laps. Well, not helped by going off the track.
No one got onto the radio to Yamamoto, who did a 108.9 on the medium tyre just now. So Yamamoto going great guns. I think he's got a bit of an advantage over Lucas Auer now, about 4 seconds.
And Alex Henderson, only 400 plus likes. Can we get 100 likes in this stream? I think we can.
1,000.
I'm not good at counting.
It's that Irish education system for you.
Oh, you know, we ran out of things. We only had one abacus for the whole class.
You weren't allowed the beads though.
No. They were locked away. Halo leads.
Look at car 64, Alex Palou.
There's a lapped car in between Yamamoto on screen there, second place. He will take the lead once Pelou stops.
That strategy did plan out for him, actually, just staying out, going long on the tyres, and I think a few of the other cars may be regretting not doing the same. But it's been a bit of a demonstration again from Yamamoto, and it's going to take some beating of this lad, I think, this season.
2 second places in the first 2 races. I did predict in the online video earlier this week as to whether Yamamoto would make that step up to take his first win of the season, and as it stands at the moment, he may just do that. Oh, and a spin!
And there's that safety car.
What on earth was that about?
That's going to be the safety car, for sure.
Absolutely ridiculous attempt to overtake. It was great fun, but Nojiri dived ridiculously down the inside of Auer, completely out of control. Auer kind of saw him coming and thought, thank you, but here we go on screen. And it's like,
what was he thinking?
I was never in a million years going to work. And even then, Auer seen him in the mirrors and thought, no.
He started to lose the rear end before he'd even got on the right front onto it, and he's beached it. That's going to bring out the safety shot. Absolutely, certainly. There goes the Nissan GTR.
That's brilliant awareness from Lucas Auer to have seen Nojiri coming in his mirrors and thought, hey, I'm getting out of this.
So the interesting person for this is Alex Pelou, who is now straight into the pits. I guarantee you, there's a man sitting. Yes, there is. There's a man sitting on some tyres there, and there is Alex Pelou, straight into the pits, changing his tyres out. Big winner here, actually. Hopefully, they get a decent stop. No fire,
and I must agree with Goods. His comment on that spin there. His comment was just oof.
I mean, that we've been talking about rental karting. I used to do it in the evenings in Streatham in South London, well, and that was the sort of move that you'd get used to. Now Pelou crosses the stripe there. Now who's that going past? That's one of the Tom's cars. Dillane Racing. Now he's going to get out just in front of those two. Is he? Yes, he is. Now, slots in between them.
Touch and go.
Now, I wonder what the rules are on overtaking, even if the car is on the pit exit.
I think there's going to be
a conversation. But it was on track. Yeah, I think that Dillane Racing car passed under yellow. I would certainly be on there's a tribute to Charlie Whiting on one of these cars, and I'd have been on the radio saying...
That's Fukuzumi.
I'd be on the radio saying, oh, you passed me under yellow there.
That's Fukuzumi that overtook Pelou there coming around turn 1.
And whilst he was still inside the pit exit on the stripe, he was on the racetrack.
Well, Nigeria's going to have to explain that.
Key point here, tyre temperatures.
Yes.
We've seen Manguino struggle badly for tyre temperatures on the mediums. Now, losing pace behind this safety car with 10 laps to go, this is going to play into the hands with those on the softer tyre. Kobayashi, notably in 3rd position now on the softer tyre, in the first of that Toyota Engines car. He's going to be right on the tail of them. You'll see it when they get the Lucky Dog guys out of the way. It will be very, very interesting to see if he can get the tyres up to temperature. He could have a maximum attack run on Yamamoto, and we know Kobayashi likes a bit of overtaking.
Slightly in. A big winner here, actually, out of all this, is we've just seen, is actually Nick Cassidy as well. Now running 4th position, actually.
Yes, this has, and again, relatively late stopper on the relatively new soft tyres.
Pelou's come out 6th behind Fukuzumi. We'll see if that sticks. 4th place Cassidy. 3rd is Kobayashi. Kobayashi got past Cassidy shortly before the safety car came out. Auer running 2nd, and Yamamoto leading this race, as he has done pretty much almost the entire duration.
Well, that safety car really saved Pelou's blushes and points haul, because he's sitting in 6th position on the freshest of tyres of anybody. Well, they are the medium tyre. If he can get those up to temperature, he will be able to live with Kenta Yamashita behind him. Will he be able to get a run on Fukuzumi and even get up to Cassidy as well? It's going to be a good, close finish. You're watching Let's Go Racing. And this is round 3 of the Super Formula Championship.
Just to note, there's a car in between. Cars in between Yamamoto and Auer there. One is
車、
Oshimi, and I
しっ
think
かり
the
ドラ
other
イビング
one
も
is
追求
the
して、
number 39
早く、
Shotsuboi in the
一応
Indian
の時
car.
のように
They are
しっかり
currently
上位で
rolling
戦える
down
状況に持っていくのがまず最初の目標かなと思ってま
15th and
す。
16th positions. So there's 2 lapped cars in between first. Oh, sorry, 3 lapped cars I think in between first and second there.
I can't actually remember. It's been about a month since we've had two before. I can't actually remember the wave pipe procedure on this. You'd expect sitting here we'd have the rule book in front of us, but it's in Japanese, so we haven't read it. Well, not all of it. I do have it in English.
Yeah, that the Red Bull livery car that is Tictum actually in between, just ahead of Lucas Ayres. So there's 3 cars in between the leader and second place at the moment. And I've been informed that it was actually Nojiri was trying to get by Dan Tictum when he had his spin, but still
It was a rubbish
Still,
spin.
it was a it was a rubbish move.
Just
Actually.
barrel in with all of the speed and none of the brakes.
正直我々のチームは年間でというよりは1レース1レー
It's
ス
an
での
interesting thing that they do on these
結果と
Formula
いうか
broadcasts.
やはり勝利から遠ざかっているので、
To
ま
run
ずは
the
一勝する
pre-race interviews
という
of the
ために
drivers
はやは
under
り
a
攻めた
safety
作
car.
戦だったり
It's actually something I see a lot
攻め
in
たセットアッ
likes
プ
of
が必要になってく
IndyCar.
ると思うので、
And,
そういった時に
NASCAR
ね
as
そう
well,
する
they
と外
feed
す
in
確率も高
pre-recorded
くなると
interviews
思い
during
ますか
safety
ら
car
どうしても
periods
シーズンというよりは、ま
It's
ず
not
我
like
々
race
は
touring
シ
car
ー
where they
ズン
get
を通
on
し
the radio
て
to
一
one
勝を
of
上
the
げるという
drivers
こ
in
と
the
を
car.
目標に
I
戦
quite
ってい
like
きたいで
that.
すね。
So I'm assuming Nojiri's car has been recovered.
Yeah, they're just
So this
taking their sweet time about this one, aren't they? I mean, that wasn't a big clear-up job. Yeah, there's no car there
So
anymore.
this should be. I'm assuming it's probably just a case of making sure the JCB and whatnot is totally off the circuit. But
I
this
think-
should go green soon
I think
again.
the bloke in the GTR just wants to have a go. I've driven quite a few GTRs, as people might imagine. I have to admit, not a fan. Always preferred the Z cars. Just like a bit of rear-wheel drive and sort of...
What you mean, like
Rawness.
the 1960s BBC cop show?
Yeah.
Lights on the safety car, I think, are.
No, they're flashing. They're
flashing.
very definitely flashing. Oh, one of them is. Oh, they're both flashing. Alternately.
This update. So, out as we mentioned, is Naoki Yamamoto leading this race. Lucas Auer, second place. Those two drivers both on the medium tyres. Third place, currently, and fourth place, the 2 top Toyota cars, both on softs. It's Kamui Kobayashi and Nick Cassidy.
So, looking at Kobayashi and Cassidy, notice the difference between those cars, not just the paint jobs. One has no light on the roll hoop. Kobayashi, there you go, completely no lights on the roll hoop. He's used up all of his power boost.
Trying to get by Cassidy.
Cassidy has green lights on his roll hoop, saying he has all of his power boost left. Now, this is the overtaking maneuver we didn't see. You see the red flashing light? That's Kobayashi using the last of his power boost, and getting it done on Cassidy. Cassidy sitting there, full power boost left, and that is going to be crucial. Kobayashi is down on power for these closing laps.
So it's going to be yet another lap. And actually, I'm at the stage now, I'm really not entirely sure why we're still on the safety car.
Well, Connor Hamilton asks, is there a Japanese equivalent to Bernd Mailander as sort of safety car regular? Or Bernd Mailander or Yannick Dalmas is a bit of a safety car regular as well. I have no idea who's driving this safety car, I have to say. Could be Ronnie Quintarelli. He seems to turn up driving everything, everywhere, all of the time in Japan. I can't remember the last time I was at a Japanese racetrack and Ronnie Quintarelli wasn't driving something. I turned up at a fairly minor meeting at Fuji Speedway once, and there he is driving an Interproto car.
The live timing is shown that Sakaguchi has pitted, is in the pits for a second time.
Why is he doing that? Now this is interesting. Putting on the soft tyres to replace the mediums. He was out of the points anyway, I think.
Yeah, he was down in 10th, but this is just going to drop him down to 15th.
But better tyres on than anybody else, I guess.
Unfortunately, he's only going to have 7 laps to do anything with it, so I'm not entirely sure how effective this will be, but we shall see.
Well, go have at it and give it a go. Well, the safety car is backing up the field.
So Sakaguchi has to actually get a bit of a race on to get to the back of the
Could actually
field.
be advantageous, couldn't it? He comes screaming around at full race speed and gets onto the back of the field.
So you are going to have 3 cars in between first and second there. So has Oshimi,
So they didn't do the wave by.
Ashimi, Shosuboi, and Dan Tictum in between.
Kobayashi already backing into Nick Cassidy. That's an interesting one. Trying to get a bit of temperature into those tyres. Yamamoto leads the race. You're watching live on Let's Go Racing. Don't forget to like and subscribe. 8 laps left here at Sportsland Sugo. It's round 3. The 2019 Super Formula Championship. We're about to go back to green.
I wonder how... Oh, and a spin! There was a spin there.
Was that... Who was that? That was
the car. I think that was Shosuboi. He spun.
I think he did.
As he went on the green, just as we went out of shot. Now, that was...
well, that's just given a huge gap to Yamamoto. Look, there's Yamamoto warming his tyres.
There's Ashimi second place as we go. Green 7 to go.
That's not Lucas Auer. There's Lucas Auer behind Dan Tictum.
Lucas Auer's 4th in the queue there, and there he is.
It's going to be another safety car if you start there.
I think he stalled. He stalled, hasn't he?
Yeah, we're back to safety car. The Nissan GTR has literally just driven straight through the pits and back out the other side. Well. That is silly. Oh, I hope we don't end under safety car. That might have just robbed us of a classic battle here.
And yeah, safety car out.
Well, let's make this a really quick safety car.
Andrew F asks, did Shuboi spin or did Tictum run into the back of him?
We need to see that again.
It was slightly out of shot. I think Shosuboi actually just overcooked it as Yamamoto got going again, and hopefully we'll see a replay soon.
Itasha rear wing on this on the.
It's a fantastic livery.
It's very confused livery. There's quite a lot on it. They've got lots and lots of sponsors on that team, and they're all over all of the bodywork. Well, that is clearly a safety car. They should be able to recover that with the snatch tractor pretty damn quick. But what a silly spin. 7 to go here at Sportsland Sugo. And let's hope this isn't a long safety car period.
Because the actual Marshall entry is the far side of the circuit, or far side of that road. I suppose he has to wait.
Well, he spun and stalled it, hasn't he? So.
And he has to wait until everyone went by to get out of the car.
He may look a bit sheepish. He should do. That was silly. Unless he got hit.
I'm not sure Tictum was close enough. I think he's just actually overcooked it.
Ericsson's fault.
Yeah, most likely.
So
here we go. So it's the third car in the picture. Yeah, he's just clearly overcooked it.
Oh, I see what's... And it's also, if you look at the car in front, did the same. Just as Yamamoto booted the throttle, he booted the throttle because that was the time to start racing, but he wasn't fully through the corner. The steering was too much lock on, cold tyres, booted the throttle and just looped it.
But not only that, he's got his left front tyre.
His boss is not happy.
He's got his left front tyre rigidly on the curb as well, and that's helped kind of slingshot him around.
Well.
He's not pleased with himself.
I mean, he's scared. I wouldn't go back. If you look at his team boss's face, he just needs to go and just, I don't know, get a cab to the Shinkansen station and go home dressed like that.
And it's been a difficult race because he was lapped. He was down in 17th, 18th position, so it's already been. And this is how quickly you lose laps here as they're coming around again. So Shoksuboi's
they haven't recovered the car, and the tractor hasn't moved. I've got a horrible feeling we're going to end under safety car. Oof part 2, says Connor Hamilton. Oh, I hope they stop them on the start-finish line and we get a proper race to the end.
And now the tractor's coming out, but it got to be very, very, very quick about it.
Yeah, they need to slow down that GTR, which has the added effect of cooling everybody's tyres down and making it even more trickier for them. Yeah, the GTR is going quite slowly.
So, Yamamoto leads. Oshima, the second car in picture there, is actually lapped. You then have Tictum as well. So the fourth car in line there is the actual second place driver. That's Lucas Auer. Kamui Kobayashi, third place. He's the fifth in line there in the blue car. Just behind the green car is fourth place. That is Nick Cassidy. Then you got Fukuzumi, fifth place. Question marks over whether he overtook Alex Palou.
Yeah, I think he'll probably get away with it because the car was leaving the pit lane and was still on the inside the stripe.
Yeah.
But marginal, I'd say.
Palou's sixth place. Kenta Yamashita running seventh. And in eighth place is Oshira. It's the other Ing car. Ninth place and at the moment just out of the points. is Yuji Kunimoto. 10th place is Tsukakoshi. And in 11th place we have Hirakawa. 12th, Kazuki Nakajima, Le Mans winner, well, twice Le Mans winner, and
World champion.
Japan's first driver's world champion. 13th place, Tadasuke Makino. 14th, Yuki Sekiguchi, who did his second stop a few moments ago. That strategy is really not going to work now that they've lost even more laps on the green. In 15th place, we have that's the first of the lapped cars. That is Kazuya Oshima. That ticked him 16th. Artem Markelov now 17th position. And thereafter you have got 3 retired cars. So 17 cars still running. Markelov, I'm not sure if he's been lapped once or twice in this race.
And there's the little diggly.
Yeah, here, sorry. Markelov's been lapped once.
Well, I'm not quite sure what that little tiny, not quite. It's a K car's answer to a K car digger. That sort of they've sort of moved the stricken car to the inside of the barrier. I think they're just going to leave it there and then get the digger out of the way. And then we go back to green. It's taken them 2 minutes to do a lap at the moment behind this GTR. Clearly a GTR can go around Sportsland Sugo quicker than 2 minutes.
And 3 cars not finished, of course. We saw the stalled Shoe Boy. That's a YouTube clip he's not going to want to see over and over and over again. 19th place was out of this race Nojiri, a silly spin trying to get past their lapped Dan Tictum, and Harrison Nui, who retired in the pits what looked like a fire.
It was definitely a fire in Harrison Nui's car, although we never saw what was actually on fire other than the car.
So 4 laps left.
Now I'm hoping we're going to get back to green at the end of this one.
So we may get a 2 or 3 lap shootout. They really do need to be quick about it.
I think you should introduce the green-white checkered that they used to have in NASCAR. They should also they should have Lucky Dogs get rid of these back markers, because we'd have a cracking battle. Because at the moment we're looking at Naoki Yamamoto there first out of minivan corner. Then you've got 2 back markers. You've got Tictum there and Artem Markelov, I think that is. Then you've got Lucas Auer. Then you've got Kamui Kobayashi.
No, Markelov's behind Lucas Auer. So you got Auer just got next year, then Markelov. Just as a note as well, Tadasuke Makino also stopped a second time to go put on soft tyres.
Sashimi, of course. His teammate.
Yes.
Yellow front wing and bits. So yeah, get those 2 out of the way. Then you've got this great scrap. You get the other Red Bull car out of the way.
You would want Oshimi and Tictum to be somewhat compliant at this point. Bear in mind they are running 15th and 16th
Come on,
positions.
switch your lights off. Look, the car's out of the way. Let's go racing. What's the name of this channel? Hit like and subscribe. Hit like.
Join.
And we'll go back to green.
Like, subscribe, join. Say hello, chat to us, ask us questions. We will have a few minutes after this race to actually answer your questions, so...
We'll have lots of time after this race.
Yeah, before
And they seem to accelerate and coming out of the final corner quite a lot. Did we go back to green and not notice? No, there's still a car up there. They just gapped himself out. We've got to go green this lap. Come on, pull this safety car off the track.
So very reluctant to get back to green, and considering how long the first safety car was as well when the G-Race spun on.
If I wanted to watch GT racing, I'd tune in to Let's Go Racing in a few hours' time.
Well, you could.
Which you should. So you should hit like and subscribe.
So what is going on later today, Sam?
I believe Donington Park is going on later today.
British GT.
I believe so. In Britain.
Not the other Donington.
No. The one with the castle and the Spitfire, I think.
And the airplanes.
Yeah.
With the airplanes and noise regulations for some reason.
Yes, East Midlands Airport. Once saw a tornado take off there.
So many photographers trying to get the right spot in the hill so they can get like an airplane coming over a car.
Well, that's what photographers do, isn't it? Ah, the lights are out.
We have we're going to have a 3-lap shootout for the end of this race.
So, we're about to go back to green.
No.
It's 3 laps, green, white, checkered, essentially. It is You're watching Let's Go Racing. This is the final round at Sportsland Sugo. Keep an eye on your race leader, Naoki Yamamoto, in at car number 1 as we're about to go back racing.
Bear in mind, the second and third cars there, Oshimi and Tictum, are lapped. The car in second place in the race is the fourth one there, the Red Bull liveried number 50 car, Lucas Auer. This is going to be a very, very quick blast to the end of this race.
Yamamoto was quite smart there. He waited till Auer was right bottled up into that corner. And Auer's dropped quite a lot on that getaway, and he's going to have Kobayashi right on his tail. But look out for Nick Cassidy behind Kobayashi. Yamamoto's already got a gap of those 2 back markers in between him, playing tail gunners inadvertently. And those 2 back markers are more interesting, racing each other for position, and that's what they're doing as Dan Tictum tries to go round the outside of Artem Markelov, and I think got that done.
It's Oshimi, so I think he may have actually done it. Yes, he has.
That's right, Markelov's nowhere to be seen, of course.
And that is over 15th and 16th.
But here comes Kobayashi trying to go round the outside of Lucas Auer, and
he's done it! He's done it!
Nick
Fantastic!
Cassidy.
Absolutely fantastic move. And Lucas Auer, of course, is on the medium tyres. He's going to have a lot less grip. Cassidy looking to get by as well, just moving all over the place, trying to find a gap. Auer is not getting the temperature into his medium tyres at all at the moment as Oshimi pulls out of the way.
Now watch Cassidy right on the tail of that Red Bull liveried car. Teams Tom versus the Red Bull car. And then he's got the toe off the back of Kobayashi as well. These 3 are going to go absolutely for it all the way around the lap.
And Pelu there as well in 5th place. So Kobayashi up to 2nd place. What a fantastic move there on Lucas Auer around the outside.
He's going to get used to finishing second.
And he's not... Is Cassidy going to get a run on Lucas Auer as they exit the final corner? 2 laps to go. He's not quite close enough this time as Yamamoto well off into the distance.
Yeah, no one's quite... I thought they were trying to try and get onto the toe, but Kobayashi has broken away a little bit from Lucas Auer, still on course for his best ever Super Formula finish, but Nick Cassidy wants to come and spoil his party.
I wonder now if Auer is just about getting his tyres up to temperature, although he still seems to be struggling a bit in the slower corners.
Cassidy was in the dirt there trying to avoid the back of the Red Bull livery Dallara SF19 there.
Auer is the slower corners. Auer is definitely struggling. In the higher speed corners, he does seem to have a little bit more confidence.
Well, let's look at that. Cassidy's positioning his car to keep Palu at bay, but he's got his eyes on that number 50 car of Lucas Auer, former DTM driver. Red Bull's less well-known hopes for the future.
He took 4 race wins in 4 seasons, in 5 seasons, did Lucas Auer. Very, very good, competent driver. Nephew, of course, of Gerhard Berger.
That's got to be a guarantee of a decent long-term contract from a certain Austrian.
Cassidy, he's using the overtake button as Yamamoto enters the final lap of this race. But Cassidy's not close enough. Auer, meanwhile, is getting held up by his Red Bull stablemate, Dan Tictum.
They're not actually teammates.
They're not teammates, but they are Red Bull stablemates. But Tictum has pulled over and allowed Auer to go through.
Well, we're
and he's
watching
allowed Cassidy through as well.
Yamamoto's car twitching all over the place, actually, because he's seen Kobayashi coming. And is Kobayashi getting it done on the final lap? I'm not sure, but that gap looked a lot smaller between Yamamoto and Kobayashi than I thought it was. It's not showing on our timing screen at the moment.
It's 4.3 seconds.
That was last time we crossed the stripe. No, that's less than 4 seconds, I think. But still, Alex Palou is keeping Nick Cassidy honest. Cassidy's got a little bit more boost left, but Alex Palou hasn't used it. We're on the final lap. There's going to be a great run to the finish here. I don't think Cassidy's going to get it done on that Red Bull liveried car of Lucas Auer for 3rd position. But we'll wait and see. Naoki Yamamoto, though, he's got no worries. He's in that long final corner, coming up over the crest and wins round 3 of the 2019 Super Formula Championship and cements his championship lead. There, 2nd position, Kamoya Kobayashi. There, 3rd, best for him. Lucas Auer across the line. Pelou. And look at that. Well, I don't know who. Well, these are very close finishes.
1/10 of a second between Pelou and Cassidy for 4th and 5th place. 1/10 of a second between Fukuzumi and Kenta Yamashita for 6th and 7th place. Oshura takes the final points paying position in 8th place. Only a second ahead of Kunimoto, but Naoki Yamamoto has been absolutely untouchable this weekend. Point for pole position. And now race winner led almost every single lap in this race. And as you said, extends his championship lead. Fantastic job.
Now, stay tuned for the podium. We should get some comments from Lucas Auer at the end of the race as well, I believe. I doubt we'll ask him in German, so not sure.
An applause all round there in the Team Dandelion pit.
Well done.
Rightfully so. That was an absolutely fantastic drive by Yamamoto and solidifying another championship run. He is, of course, the reigning champion, won it by a single point last season from Nick Cassidy.
Yeah. And the similar situation in Super GT, of course.
Yeah, again, Super GT champion alongside Jenson Button last year as well. So is this going to be another championship run? That's 1 win and 2 second places from the first 3 rounds for Naoki Yamamoto. That is quite a run at this stage in the season.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be the championship favourite now by absolute far. But I mean, we're not talking a Silver Arrows domination like we'll probably see later today in France.
What's happening in France?
There's some cars driving around circles. F2, I think, because Markelov couldn't make it. So, and speaking of not making it, well, you've been watching round 3 of the 2019 Super Formula Series on Let's Go Racing. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and stay with us for the podium ceremonies. And we'll be answering some of your questions. Don't forget, you can do #AskO'Gorman.
Why me?
Fancied it this time.
Well, so yes, do send in your questions, do send in your comments. We're going to be on air for a short while yet, as we see Yamamoto driving his car very slowly back as second place. Kobayashi, he'll be quite happy with that, I think. That's a nice result.
How's he got back to the pits first then?
I think Yamamoto is
very
much enjoying his run. That's actually the first point of the season for Kobayashi. He has a 9th in Suzuka, 10th in Autopolis, so finally gets his season kick-started at Sugo. That's 8 points that he will be very, 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 very welcome.
Well, he'll be hopping out of that car once he's worked out how to extract himself over the halo. This car, the SF19, not originally designed to have a halo.
They kind of engineered into it a bit.
Yeah, but it was sort of, and as was the F2 situation, they sort of put it in as after. I wonder if they'll go to the IndyCar style screen in future. I think that might be on the cards for Super Formula. They're looking at things like that for the future.
Looks prettier.
Yeah, Yamamoto is distinctly missing. There he is.
I think he was enjoying a very, very thorough slow-down lap. As you hear the applause from the crowd as Yamamoto pulls in. And rightfully so. That, I know I just said it a few moments ago, but that truly was an absolutely spectacular performance.
And Ddogphace Morcane says, look at the pickup on the tyres. That's because Yamamoto was basically driving everywhere that wasn't racetrack. On those flattened marbles. And he stands, he celebrates, he is happy. Naoki Yamamoto wins Super Formula Round 3. Extending his championship lead. Celebrating. We'll see some sparkling sake slightly soon. We're going to get some of that sparkling sake in the studio at some point to see what it tastes like. It's been arranged.
_XD asks, do you think Auer can make it into F1 despite already being 24 years old? I wish I was.
How old was Brendan Hartley when he got into F1?
I wish I was just 24 years old.
Leo Gorman, of course, is 45 years old.
I am not.
Okay, it's 44.
But
Anthony,
I did think Auer would be a good shout for the win, but I think 3rd place after qualifying qualifying 4th yesterday is a very, very, very good result for the Austrian.
There's Lucas Auer doing a photo.
And he's an underrated driver. He is one of these. He's not spectacular. He hasn't. He wins races here and there. He did a very good record in FIA European Formula 3. He had a very good record in DTM, where he was always a race winner, not necessarily a championship contender. So he is more than good enough to really pull results like this out of the bag. So it's no great surprise to actually see him slot into this category as well as he has.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a funny one. I mean, he's a little bit. One of these drivers could come up. Oh, Camus looks lost. Well, I think Camus is lost. He's waiting for his flags. Only one today, he asks. Oh, yeah, no, Camus literally is lost.
Probably still thinks he's in France.
Yeah, He does look knackered, actually, doesn't he? Needs someone hits him. Oh, it's one of the Dandelion Racing guys.
And congratulating Yamamoto there.
Yamamoto also looks a bit lost, but he's now found Chio. We're going to hear from Yamamoto.
放送席、こちら、ウィナーの山本直樹選手のところに来てます。山本選手おめでとうございます。
はい、ありがとうございます。
もうチャンピオン、らしいですね。完璧なレースだったと思うんですけども、作戦通りですか。
そうですね。もう逃げ切るポールからもうセオリー通りの逃げ切るレースっていうのを、チームと戦略を立てていたので。
everyone else did.
遂行することができ、実行することができて。
So the second time in a row, he's wondering where the rest of them were.
ここね、2000セーフティーカーが、早々に入るレースが続いていて、その中ソフトタイヤでのスタートは結構勇気がいる作戦だったんで。
second incident that caused a safety car.
まあもうセーフティーカーはもうレースのその運なので、
He's just saying it was a safety car. Gio, you should know about that. You used to drive GTRs quite a lot.
フォーミュラカーのレースじゃない
You
と
should
思う
try one of these
し、
Formula cars.
まあねセーフティーカーがたくさん入るようなレースもあれば、まあそうじゃなくてやっぱり速いものが勝ち切るっていうのは、このレースのね本当に真骨頂だと思うので、まあそういうレースができたっていうのが非常に嬉しいし。まあこれは自分の力だけじゃなくて、まあチームを移籍して初めて優勝することができて、いろいろリクエストもあったんですけど、それに全て答えてくれて、チームのメカニックさん、そしてエンジニアの皆さん、そして村岡監督に初めてやっと。
And Peter Kiev asks, how come Chio-san isn't in Super Formula?
Well, there he is. Look, that's his hand.
おめでとうございます。そして今言葉にありました、チーム移籍3戦目にして、
He does race in other categories.
監督として今の気持ちお願いします。
そうですね、やっと勝てたんで、これで役目を果たしましたよ。
Team Director of Team Dandelion
本当に
Racing
今山本君が言ったようにね、やっ
gives his
ぱり
thoughts
フォ
on
ーミュラ
today's
のレース
race.
ですからね、過激なしでもうぶっちぎって力を
Also
示
probably
して
consider Show
勝
Sugo
つっていう
spin
のが
quite
彼の
ridiculous.
一番をつけてる役目じゃないです
Trying to
か。
work out why.
だから
I
まあ
don't
今
actually
言
know
った
the
セー
answer
フティ
to
ー
this.
カ
Why
ー
Dandelion
置い
Racing is
とい
called
て、やっぱり
Dandelion
一番で
Racing.
思い切って走っていくっていうフォーミュラカーのレースをやれたんでね。それで
It's
まあ
an
圧
unusual
倒的な速さで勝ちまし
name
た
for
から
a
ね。
racing. Anyway, everyone seems quite happy and they seem quite satisfied. I mean, Yamamoto looks happy but not surprised by this win. It's not his favourite win of the year.
Well, it's really solidifying this championship charge. His first winner this season, of course, in Super Formula. But he just, unlike in the first two rounds, this seemed far more assured.
Oh, there's some real concern from the photographers about this not standing exactly in the right spot for the finger shot. I'm not sure about doing finger with the drinks bottle. That's a little bit controversial. That. Yes. They keep saying because they're doing this famous photo they all do. Yes.
But I mean, that was the most assured drive.
The results
we've seen from Yamamoto so far this season, and so. Taking it in his stride as we see the results. Yamamoto winning from Kamui Kobayashi. Lucas Auer, third place, completing the podium.
Nick Cassidy, fourth. Palou, fifth. Fukuzumi, sixth. Kenta Yamashita in at seventh. Eighth position, Hiroki Irishua. And ninth position, Yuji Kunimoto. And 10th is Kudai Tsukakoshi in that silver car, which has not been that competitive, but no points for him anyway. And so down to we're going to see the rest of the cars that finished the race, but there's some disappointments in the second half of the field, I feel.
Generally, yes.
Yeah. Well, maybe we're just going to see the top 10 for a bit longer. No, here we go. Yuhi Sakaguchi, that would have been a disappointment to finish in 11th. Hirakawa down in 12th.
Lost a lot of time on the medium tyre in the middle part of the race, which has left him down there. Nakajima, 13th place, was one of the drivers who got held behind Hirakawa for quite a while.
Well, Makino, sorry, lad, that wasn't great.
That was time after the stop when he was on the medium tyre, when he was 4 seconds a lap slower than everyone else.
And then obviously you had Dan Ticktum there.
The rest of the field was lapped cars and 3 retirements, which were Shosu Boy with a ridiculous spin, Nojiri with a ridiculous spin, and Harrison Nui, who was on fire.
Speaking of ridiculous, look, someone's turned up at to the podium dressed as a bear.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mini McLaren 14 says, is it true Yamamoto declined a Toro Rosso ride? Such a shame. I would like to see a Japanese in the sport again. So with the sport. Well, I've been told it's true, but whether he actually does or not, there's still time this season. That'd be interesting.
It would have to be this season, though, wouldn't it? This is super license points.
His super license points, won't have enough super license points next year. But if he does one race this year, then he'll be able to retain it. So in my opinion, I think they should reshuffle. Oh, hero music for the podium.
This is like playing a Game Boy all over again.
No, I think Mega Drive.
I did have a Master System too when I was a kid. That was good.
I had neither. I did have a Game Boy.
That came built in with Alex Kidd in Wonderland, if I remember correctly.
A Game Boy? No.
No, Sega Master System.
Did he really? Didn't know that.
Anyway, podium.
My best mate had a Mega Drive, so we could play Sonic the Hedgehog.
Never really was. I was more of a Crash Bandicoot person.
We were on it as a SNES, so we could play Street Fighter. That's what everyone played. And well,
on Earth.
No, not a clue. Don't know what was going on there. Anyway, there's Naoki Yamamoto with a single flag and a bottle. He loves that bottle. Did someone super glue it and he's just stuck to his hand?
Why are underneath his arms black? It looks like he's got like almost brake dust kind of.
Or maybe it's sort of gathered there. There's Kamui Kobayashi. Second position on the podium again. And Lucas Howard doesn't know where to go at all. He's headed to the second position on the podium. Oh, he's walking the long way around, waving his flag. No, he has to be shown the way to third position. Good for him,
on the podium, not necessarily in the race.
Oh, and there's the team boss of Dandelion Racing, looking very, very happy. And there's a man with a laptop hiding behind a door, and so they're going to do a national anthem. Never quite sure. Yeah, the hats come off. Here we go, the national anthem of Japan again. I wonder if they had the Austrian one queued up.
And Yamamoto taking the honours there.
I have no idea what the marshmallow
Manuel
is.
Razo asked, what is the marshmallow behind the podium? And I have absolutely no idea.
The bear is... what's... Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I'm not entirely sure the marshmallow was in Ghostbusters, but thank you.
Don't cross the streams. Stay on this stream instead. Here we go. Trophies with a giant base. That's very Sugo.
Oh, apparently that's not a bear. That's Kamachichi, Toyota Gazoo Racing's mascot.
Yeah, but it is a bear. I wonder if it was a Le Mans as well. It must be quite a tired bear.
Or it's a very sweaty suit from two different people.
I saw a news story about a bear in Canada that had just gone around somebody's house and fallen asleep in a cupboard.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Anyway, the trophies you get at Sports on Sugo are proper trophies, but they have a ridiculously large base. Particularly Sugo, they only need to put 4 letters on the bottom of it. But look at the size of the base. Anyway, Lucas Howard's going to treasure that one.
It's a proper trophy, though.
Yeah, it is a proper trophy. Lucas Howard is getting more and more like a proper driver at the moment.
I wish he'd shaved, though.
Says you.
Yeah, at least I got it.
Well, there's going to be some more trophy sort of things coming out. Here comes an official-looking man to present another trophy with a big base. That must be the constructors, well, the team's trophy, not constructors' trophy. Honda don't get a trophy, nor did Dallara. Should have an engine manufacturer's trophy. Feel a bit sorry for Honda for not getting anything. And, well, look behind the podium. There's a giant house with eyes and black and white pants on and a handbag.
Every single bit of my worst nightmares from every fun fair I've ever been to is on the podium right now.
It's got the letterbox on that house is quite high. I mean, if you're delivering leaflets to that letterbox, which obviously I deliver lots of leaflets, it's quite difficult to get up to the top of the eaves of the house. And there you go. That's they've been given a 15 kilo too. 15 kilos. They've been given 10 kilos of something, 15 kilos of something else. If anyone that can work out what he's been given 10 kilos of.
10 kilos of Sugo.
Yeah, Lucas Owl's going, thanks, I think. Kamui is saying, well, I've got 15 kilos, and Yamamoto's looking at, and he's got some more kilos. And a house. Did they get a house? Do they get a house? That would be nice.
Well, is it the prize actually property?
Let's do the podium posing again. Lucas Owl's just thinking, what on earth is going on? Oh, the girls have joined him. The official-looking man's joined him. The walking, well, I guess talking house hasn't joined them there. It's a bit disappointing.
I'll tell you something. Yamamoto, he doesn't look. It's not that he doesn't look happy. He looks very, very content.
Yeah, content is the right word.
Everything he did this weekend was absolutely perfect. And he looks like someone who knows he's absolutely deserved this 100%. And it's not a surprise.
Kamui looks a bit bored, quite frankly.
Kamui looks like he's going to go to sleep.
Well, the house is departing.
And
sideways.
He's going
it's too wide to fit. It's like that scene from The Simpsons with the doctor's got the afro, has to walk in sideways. Someone suggests it's 30 kilos of gold. That would be a big win, quite frankly. I think they'd look a lot more happy if it was 30 kilos of gold, unless they had to take it home on the train. That'd be a bit awkward. Oh, more interviews. Brilliant.
Because the announcer on the podium is apparently Pierre Kitagawa, who's one of Japanese top motor racing commentators and announcers.
He is. Pierre's everywhere. He's a bit like Bruno from Le Mans or John Hindhoff for cars that who've got bodywork.
And according to Manuel Razo, the podium mascot looks like a marshmallow and a house had a son.
That's pretty accurate, I have to say.
無線で後ろの状況を聞いていて、
Well, there you go. It's Yamamoto saying he's happy in other words and asking what the house was. Korean AFOL says Yamamoto, the Japanese version of Kimi. I'd say Kobayashi is the Japanese version of Kimi. Kimi Räikkönen in one of these cars would be fun.
That would be great.
I'd love to see him on this podium.
He'd probably enjoy it too.
I'd just like to see his reaction to the house. The marshmallow house.
昨日予選残念な終わり方になってしまったんですけど、こうして今日
Yamamoto is actually a very popular driver in Japan. Not just because he wins things, but he's actually quite a nice person.
He's a champion in Super GT as well, partnered Jensen Button last season, so he is a driver with a rising profile.
Yeah. He's basically thanking the crowds there for being jolly good sports.
Apparently the prize is rice.
Good quality rice.
Yeah, 30 kilos of rice.
I still prefer it when they get like the bag of rice, the big thing of rice. Not a big rice token.
Was that Motegi who does that?
It's Motegi you get the rice. Yeah. Fuji Speedway you get a bit of wood. Suzuki you get a little deer.
この走りで行こうということでそのまま勝てたので、これがチャンピオンドライバーをね、走らせるチームの宿命ですからね。それをきちっとまとめてくれる山本君の凄さも今回よく分かったので、いいチームの励みになったので、これからね、また楽しみに
explaining how everybody's very happy and thanking all of their sponsors and it was very happy to
こん
win.
なに素晴らしいレースをね、見せれるんだからね。
Push yourself to live life to the limit, it says on the Dillane Racing uniform.
じゃあチームのスタッフの皆さんと喜びを分かち合ってください。おめでとうございました。村岡監督にもどうぞ大きな拍手をお願いします。さあそれでは3選手お待たせいたしました。スパークリングファイトのお時間に参りましょう。3選手には全日本スーパーフォーミュラ選手権シリーズパートナーであります人気酒造
Anony Mike has just pointed out in his household 30 kilos is about 15 years worth of rice. I don't know, it took me quite a long time to get through 30 kilos of rice as well. I eat a lot of rice, I quite like rice. Anyway, here we are, sparkling sake time. Looks a bit brown, doesn't it? Bit murky this one. I've been told it's a very special one, so... Sparkling. Oh, it wasn't sparkling something else. Dozo. Pierre's really going for it on that.
Gower is actually probably more excited. Yeah, he's gone straight for the bottle, actually.
So I was just drinking it.
Yeah. Well, he did a bit of a spray, then he went for the rest of it.
I see your point about the dirty armpits. It's interesting, isn't it? It must be where the brake dust sort of accumulates.
Yeah.
Because it's rubbing when he's driving, and it's just sort of accumulating in his armpit. That's a weird aerodynamic thing.
Yeah.
It's interesting. If you look, Community's got very clean armpits.
And,
Not Klowde.
Can't tell.
Another sneaky Red Bull tactic, that. No, that is interesting, though. He does have dirty armpits compared to the others.
Bear in mind, when I can't remember, I can't remember which driver came in. It might have been Montecinos. Yes, it was. No, it was Hirakawa. When Hirakawa pitted and they took the tyres off, the huge amount of brake dust that actually came from those tyres. So I think it is even though it's a short circuit, it's quite quick. There are a lot of hard braking places. So it wouldn't be a complete surprise to have quite a lot of brake dust flowing through the system, but I've never seen it accumulate under a driver's...
Drivers have never seen dirty armpits before. It's an unusual one. Well, Pierre says thank you, and yeah, they said thank you. That's the end of the podium. The drivers are all off to go and talk to the Japanese media, people like Autosport magazine. That's the Japanese one, not the British one. Very different publication. Well, it's been fantastic watching this Super Formula race. Here's some highlights.
This was a great start from Yamamoto, leading straight away ahead of
Well, Lucas Auer, I mean,
Nojiri, ahead of Nojiri and Auer, sorry.
And there's another angle of exactly the same thing. Lucas Auer trying to get it done around the outside on the first corner. It didn't really work out. Looking back down the field, we didn't really see this. Well, we didn't get to see it that time either. Then these early first lap pit stops sort of worked, this strategy.
I think it helped a lot by those late safety car does.
Yeah.
Hirakawa ran 5th place for quite a long time. And on the medium tyres, and held up the likes of Sakaguchi quite badly. And this was the battle for quite a long time between Kobayashi and Nick Cassidy, and Kobayashi got by very late on, and crucially just before the first safety car came out. I think this is actually the move here, very late in the race, and that really secured second place. Well, it helped secure second place.
It did. I think he was a bit lucky with because when Yamamoto stopped, I think both he and
that was Makino's stop. He changed onto medium tyres.
I mean, that was just cold tyres. I don't know if there was a problem with the car, but it just looks like he couldn't deal with a cold tyre.
But he had several laps, 4 seconds off the pace. This is Nojiri trying to get by and lap Dan Tictum, and
that's ambition overcoming grip.
I mean, he was lapping him. It wasn't even. And this is the spin. The other spin for Sho Suboi.
Oh, still you can only just see it on that angle. We need to see it better.
And it's just. I don't think that's not going to be a clip he's going to replay over and over again. As we see Kobayashi going on the outside of Lucas Auer for second place. That was certainly, for me, the move of the race. Wonderful stuff there from
that
Kamui
second
Kobayashi.
Safety car, I think, gave a little bit of a reprieve to some drivers, including this man, Naoki Yamamoto, who won. Because it meant that some of those other fast drivers behind him just didn't have enough time to get onto terms. This battle across the finish line, we just missed the other one as well there. But.
And of course, one of the strategies we saw late on was like Sakaguchi, who pitted nearly just under 10 laps away from the end of the race, moved from softs, went from mediums to softs, didn't get a chance to exploit that because the safety car came out. You see the standings now. Yamamoto leading the championship by 11 points from Cassidy on 16. Yehio Sakaguchi level with Kenta Yamashita, that's 10 points. Kamui Kobayashi with that podium gives him his first points of the season. He's on 8, level with Lucas Auer, who finished 3rd in that race. Then it's Alex Pelu, Nirei Fukuzumi, both on 7, and Kazuyo Oshima and Tadasuke Makino, both on 6 points. We'll be staying on the chat for a little bit. We'll be talking about the end of this race as we see the rest of the points. That's Tomoki Nojira 5, then Sho Suboi and Yuji Kunamoto 4 points, and the final point scorers Dan Tictum and Hiroki Ishira both on 1. There is still time to like and subscribe. Let's Go Racing, and you get not only this Super Formula race, but you also get the first 2 rounds of Super Formula this season, which are in the archive. All you got to look for it, and we also have 4 further rounds coming later on this season. Of course, in a few weeks' time at Fuji Speedway. That's going to be July 14th. Then August 18th, it's going to be Twin Ring Motegi. Then we go to Aida, or Okayama, at the end of September. And then the finale at Suzuka, the second round this year at Suzuka, that's going to be October 27th. So like, join, subscribe, and keep watching Super Formula for the rest of the 2019 season. It is going to be an absolute thriller. Sam,
Leigh,
what else is there to say about Naoki Yamamoto?
He's quite quick. There you go. See, have you not noticed I've got the Tannoy controller?
But you know, that was a confident drive.
He was a very confident driver. He was very happy with it. I'm just waiting for the sort of random replay reel we sometimes get here on Super Formula, but they sort of surprise us with what comes up on the screen. Looking at Lucas Auer's car, the number 50 car sitting there, beginning to establish himself now as the sort of lead Red Bull branded driver in Super Formula. Much to everybody's surprise. Dan Ticktum, I'm not sure he's ever going to make it to...
Well, I think the other thing as well is, as you see on screen there, the information about the next round at Fuji Speedway, July 13th qualifying. We'll see some highlights of that come up on Super Formula, I'm sure. And then we will be showing the race again live July 14th on Let's Go Racing, youtube.com, Let's Go Racing. Tune in, like, subscribe, join.
And yeah, we'll enjoy. We'll love having you here. We just wait for that final highlights roll as the final race of the day takes to the track, and that's a touring car race. But I think this has been fantastic. Super Formula. And anyway, there you go, to remind me. There was a bumblebee, some flowers, there were some clouds, some girls did some walking and waving. At the same time, a man scratched his beard, a man did up a helmet. A race started. A car spun. A man got annoyed. An orange light flashed. I have no idea what that pole was for. A pit stop. A number one. There is number one. A Yamamoto took the win twice, and a man got very happy. Another man got happy with dirty armpits. Thanks for watching. We have been Sam Collins
and Leigh O'Gorman.
This has been Let's Go Racing. Hit like and subscribe and join us in the chat for a little bit more action as we keep talking to you. But thank you for now. Good night, goodbye, and see you in July.